Whoever's doing the demo tonight should probably be a co-host too. I don't know who that is.
Bob Grinstead, but I don't see him name on here yet.
Somebody,
More early.
just somebody else just popped in and said, make him a co-host. Who was that?
Gary in Oklahoma.
Hi, Captain.
I didn't get any of that, whoever that was.
That was low bandwidth.
Any of that.
Yeah, you know, I from my amateur radio days, I remember what that's called.
Yeah.
When you heterodyne out.
Dane,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
got,
Brenda.
you got a spotlight on us right behind your head. You turn that thing off?
He was
Yeah.
trying to get that one of those singers
Glow.
halo behind his head.
Oh, okay, yeah. It didn't look like it was serving a purpose other than blinding.
Michael Bolton, that's what my wife said. Michael Bolton's got that aura around the back of his head. All right, Dave said he's recording. I'm recording.
I got 3 people recording, so Brenda's
All right.
recording, so
Yeah.
we should be good.
Okay, good. I apologize for the
Yeah.
confusion, like getting on. I just, I know I had,
Thank you very much.
I know I had some problem with the coordination between computers, but I didn't realize I locked myself out. I can't be in here. This is taboo to be in this room right now. So,
Uh-oh.
and I'll leave my laptop in here because I have direct connect. And I thought about earlier this afternoon, come get it and move it to the other area, but the boss isn't here, so I'm all right now.
Yeah, as
Until
long as
she
you're
gets
not,
home and catches you.
as long as you're not doing anything, you know, you're probably fine, right?
And I'm supposed to be, but you know, the rules are rules, and I've agreed to them. So I just gotta.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Okay. All right. We got to do what you got to do.
And you gotta do what makes you happy.
No, if I can do what makes me happy, I'd be here all day long.
No, you gotta do what
You gotta
makes
do it
her
when they're
happy.
happy. Exactly.
You
Hi,
got it. You got
Captain.
it there.
Worked
No,
for
I'm
me for
trying.
about 37 years. So.
Well, you been working up for how long?
No, I got married to the missus in 87, and that's keeping her happy. Has been working for me.
Oh, yeah, the boss is happy, you're happy. Or no, the boss is happy, you have a chance to be happy.
Yeah. We get along great.
Yeah, I'm just shutting up right now.
We do. Don't even have discussions much anymore.
Audio. You get some strange transmissions between the systems tonight. I don't know.
Ghosts in the wires, dude.
Yeah. It'll work out. I would have started this earlier. We got back from physical therapy and I sat up in a couch and I noticed the clock said 5:15. I hadn't done anything. So that was, okay. I didn't say I was napping. I'm not supposed to do that, but
You're checking your eyelids for pinholes.
oh yeah, you know, I was filtering TV. You know, my dad wasn't a great fan of most TV shows, and he got a kick out of it when I said, "Dad's sitting there with shields up," and he looked around. He says, "I don't know what that means. Is that good or bad?" He could watch TV if it was the Jackie Gleason Hour or the Red Skelton Show, or there was one or two others, but he didn't like the stuff where they had 21 minutes every half hour to produce a program, and that were the rules. Didn't like that. And funny, I came up the right way. He didn't like any sports on television either. Now he could tell me you went and watched a football game, but I never wasn't watching it. All right. I had some things worked on the other computer, and I can't move it right here. But we have a bunch of gallery challenges, gallery displays coming up in the next couple of months. And the first one is Valentine's Day, or the day after Valentine's Day, pardon me, is going to be Show Me Your Crotch. We took a chance and let Doug Rowe know about that one, so it might not be PG. And then for St. Patty's Day, we're going to do gnomes. And for Easter, we're going to do eggs. For July 4th, cannons. And we're working on a couple others. These all relate back to demonstrations that have been held here at the meetings. And all the demonstrations, thank goodness for David Rhodes, are on our website. So if you missed any of those and you want to be part of it, that's where you'll find it at. And I have one more, and that is the bowls. Bees for Courage. And that's on my other computer. I need to move it over here because I have all the information for it. It's not difficult. They just have some guidelines you need to follow. They don't want one that looks like a wash tub and the next one look like a thimble. All these kids need to have the same starting block. So, and had a lot of questions and comments by email this week about the dust collection that we spoke about last week. Got ideas that one of our members got started last week concerning dust collection or dust avoidance, and a lot of comments about it. And I've emailed most of them back. Here's the deal, folks. I don't answer my phone. It's absolutely useless to me. It's part of the rules. So, and I can't even answer the messages on it. But it'll get better. They tell me that. I'm having my brain examined, but today the doctor said, lean over the table and, what's he looking for? Huck says it's going to rain ice and snow tonight. Whoa. I think temperature outside's got to be in the low 70s. But I'm told by Friday we'll be cold. I mean, we'll break out the 60s and probably get into the 50s. Where Trace is at, along the coast, they might not ever leave the 70s.
This is all that big storm that slammed into California over the last few days.
Oh, is that where it's coming from?
Yeah, it's all part of the same big storm system. So
I hope Scott's okay. Scott lives out that way, Lakeside, Florida, California.
Yeah, but we're having fun with quite a bit of rain and wind.
Brenda says it's 44 and raining there. Yeah, I went out to the club today to do PT in t-shirt, and didn't mind it at all. That and the fact that I went down to the car and had my house jacket on, and she said, "You can't go in public with that." She made it for me. Ron Radliff is with us tonight. Ron became an octogenarian yesterday. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So we all have to compliment Ron on how young he is. Hell, I had to look up octogenarian. And the wife was laughing. And she says,
I don't know what it is.
Take the first words, octa.
It's 80.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're the ones that chase them septuagenarian sirens.
And septuagenarian is 70.
Yep.
What's 75? 75?
They don't have a word for that.
English. What's wrong with just speaking English, guys?
Creaky, old. I don't
I'm
know.
glad I'm still 31.
I think the old thing falls in right there, you know.
Hey, for all you folks that have those freezing temperatures, I feel sorry for you. It's 81 degrees in Bastrop
That's
right
why we're
now.
sending it
Just
to
saying.
you.
Hmm.
That's why we're sending it
Sounds
down
nice.
south.
Sounds nice.
Sounds terrible, Tim.
I
I'm
know.
telling you, it sucks.
Matt, you have to break out the pen and send it down to his way.
Probably humid there already too.
I'd actually prefer snow to this rain. The dogs like it better too.
Yeah, my
It's
dog went up.
cleaner.
My dog hit the patio this morning and right down she went. It was
Ouch.
solid glare ice.
That sounds really messy. I've been there, Scott. It sounds really bad. As long as you got power, I suppose you're okay.
Well, it's not freezing to the wires, but it's freezing on the roads and on the ground where it's frozen. The ground is frozen here, so
That's all right. As long as
Yeah,
you got no place
yeah,
to go.
I'd be worried about the
Oh,
trees too. If it freezes on the trees, and the trees can come apart, and that's bad for wires.
yeah, it's staying around 32 degrees, so it's not freezing on the trees. It's just what it hits, it freezes to.
Yeah,
Wow,
but
okay.
that's a good source for wood turning.
That's true. Listen to the chainsaws.
Yeah.
Follow the sounds of the chainsaws, my son.
I woke up to that sound yesterday morning. It was so nice. I slept in a little bit. I guess it was 7:15 when I woke up, and 2 doors down, they were taking down a hackberry tree.
I was gonna say,
And,
did you go see what it was? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I remember looking at it a while back thinking that's got to come down because a chunk of it came down and fell on a car. So, and I'm in that neighborhood committee, the quality of life thing. And after the car sat out there wrecked for a while, I had to put the call in and say, somebody come check this out. I don't want a 53 Buick lawn ornament, down the street. So they came out and started doing something on the tree.
I took down a 46-inch Siberian elm yesterday. It was over 100 feet tall.
Whoa. That's a big tree.
Yeah, and there's lots of turning wood in it too.
I think I get around here is basically oak and maples, a little bit of ash.
I like turning ash. I do. It's a challenge sometimes, but it comes out really, really nice.
Yes, it does.
What I like most about it, if you want to play with stains, that's the wood to play with stains with.
Yeah, it's majority of times it's pretty bland, I guess, with the graining and whatnot. So it really takes color nice.
What I say about the grainy is that looks open.
Yeah.
It looks like, at least ours would look open. That might be from the regions, but it a couple of years ago, I think it was the ones out of the guy that's out of Las Vegas now. He came down to do a demonstration for a club, and I went there, and they shipped in a whole pallet load of ash. And the guy that was, who's that?
Jimmy Clues.
Clues, that was it. And they shipped in a whole pallet of ash. And the guy would have shipped to that didn't understand what it was. It sat in, it was sitting out in his yard for a couple of weeks. So, I took some of it because you could get some blocks out of it, but it was sent there to be shaped out of bowl halves. But it turned good. I turned a whole lot of small pieces. I thought I had one on my desk as a pen holder for a while. I really liked it.
Yeah, she's pretty.
Yeah.
But sometimes it tends to be on a little bit of the bland side, so I can see the staining and the coloring, dyeing.
Definitely takes a torch really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that. I saw that. We don't
There's
have,
some woods you don't want to touch.
there's some woods you want to put a torch to and some woods you don't want to put a torch to.
Right.
It's just a halfway through turning when you say, I'm gonna burn this, that's not the good ones. I don't know of a good source for, I don't want to call them exotic woods. Just turning woods. We don't have any of those big box stores down here that sell that stuff. I mean, I said big box, but I'm talking Woodcraft Granger and Woodcraft. Oh,
Worker source.
yeah,
Rockler?
Rockler and all those. We don't have any. If you do anything here, you got to do it all by mail. And we got one saw shop type operation up by Hammond, Louisiana, but they don't do wood. They might have the tools that you're looking for without having to pay for freight. But I haven't found anybody else. We lost the deal here that was bringing in some beautiful woods. And before that, Hurricane Katrina took out the oldest one in New Orleans, Fine Woods. It beat them to death. And we had a Paxton down here for a while. That was nice. Paxton really got involved with serving the commercial trade. But they had a guy named Archie that worked there half a day, 5 days a week, from noon till 5 or whatever. And because he was a woodworker, and he knew they had the wood, and he went to deal with them when they wanted to close the showroom. He went to work there and operated the showroom 5 days a week, 5 hours a day, and he loved it. I think he was getting paid in wood. So, but he did some beautiful work. Bob Hyde says SWAT's a good place to pick up my fancy wood. Boy, is it ever. SWAT's always got a great mix of woods. And everybody, it's not like dealing with the retailers there. I mean, big groups. You talk to a guy to cut the tree down, and if he walks funny, it's because he got shot with bird shot for doing it. But I've been there, and one of he's a late friend now, did ornamental work, and he was heading from SWAT to some other meeting, and he says, "Look, can you take home some wood for me?" I'm thinking, sure, you got a box or two? He almost hurt my pickup truck. I mean, that man bought some wood, and it never got off the trailer. He went out and made a deal with me before he unloaded it. And at the end of the meeting, when I was ready to go, backed up, and the guy started rolling stuff out, and I think, wait. At some point, you got to stop. And I was going to take it home and then bring it up to his house. I took it directly to his house. I'm trying to read some chat. It's not reading well. Okay. What is Bob Grinstead going to demo for us tonight, Dane?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
I have a portable sawmill, chainsaw
Yes.
mill.
Oh, I didn't know he was here. There he is.
Yeah, hey, how are y'all doing tonight?
Doing
Good, Bob.
fine. How's yourself,
You
sir?
pop in.
Good. Yeah, it's just a short video. It's not, I think it's 20 minutes long or something, but anyway, it's not too long, but I wanted to share it with you, and other people might have ideas or might want to try to do something like this. It just wish I had a bigger log to show you doing it on, but all I had left at that point when I decided to do the video, I just had a small piece left. So, but anyway, we'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Should be interesting.
I do have a question I'd like answers to, hollowing with a camera. Does anybody do that? I mean, did anybody have any different applications or different products they use out there?
Yes. Some of the options, there's a couple people who are, I mean, some people are selling some high-end ones, okay?
Yeah, I want a
Very
DIY.
Right, very expensive. I know at least one guy who has a plan for one that uses an automotive backup camera and an automotive backup monitor. And for like under $50, he's got the whole setup arranged.
Yeah, I've looked at that. I know there's others that I don't know. I bought a camera, I bought a webcam, but I think I'm going to have a tablet or something that it will actually work on. I don't believe it'll just connect up to a monitor. I think a webcam is going to have to be a little more intelligent than that. But I don't know.
So what you do is you buy a backup camera and you connect it to a monitor, and it's got software, like a backup monitor. And the backup cameras are like $25. And the backup monitors are like $20 or $35 or somewhere in that that cost range. And the backup monitor's got software on it. And what you do is you take, one of those clear plastic sheets that people used to use for those overhead projector things.
Yeah.
And you get like a dry erase pencil, and you fold that over your monitor. So once you've got the camera and zeroed in on your hollowing, whatever tool you're using to hollow with,
Sure.
then you outline it on your. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've watched the YouTube videos and seen a lot of that, and even Cindy Drozda was talking about the backup camera, but.
Yeah, you don't have to get.
I mean, I don't know if there's any other program. You can. I don't know if y'all have ever looked at this DaVinci Eye. That's a pretty good program, but it's for drawing and maybe pyrography rather than for turning. But anyway, you could draw it on the monitor, like they show with the backup cameras. But
Yeah,
I know
you get
that
it.
there's the expensive ones. It really takes the picture of the tool and wipes out the background, and then it draws a line around it at the right distance and all that, and it does a lot of things for you, and you can zoom in and out. I don't know that you can zoom in and out with a backup camera, but I haven't tried it yet. I just trying to get into it and get my head around it and see what all the options are out there. But if there's a freer or a cheaper version of the software, I guess, that runs on a tablet, or it might even take a PC. I don't know how much power it would have to run one.
But see, the point is that you don't need to get a tablet to do this. Okay.
Yeah, if I draw it, sure.
Right. So, and if you've got a tablet, the tablet would give you some of that those extra features that you want. So, and you can buy used tablets too. So,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I have an old tablet here, and I was going to use it on it, and I can't get the camera to connect to it. It's too old. It's a 2014 tablet, so it's probably way too old to hook a camera to it.
I have one about that old, and it's Hewlett Packard HP. I got it from my late sister, and I plug a USB camera in it all the time if I'm doing laser work, I'll set the USB camera, I'll clip it on the shield and record what is happening on the bed. So I can see what the progress is, and I'll link that back to my HP, and then I read the HP with my laptop just by syncing them.
Yeah. Well, now that works pretty good, but for some reason I can't get this thing to even look for other devices. It was a Samsung Galaxy Note. It was a 2014 device, but it was it doesn't have an option. You know, some of the YouTube videos showing you connecting them to tablets, and I don't have the options that they show there for the Samsung. It's not in this version. So.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not compatible then.
Yeah.
In the
I
chat,
bought a
somebody's-
How about a
Go on,
simple camera with just the video output on video and audio output, and just plugged it into the plug it directly into the back of a TV, and it works fine. No software required. Now you got to be careful of backup cameras because they'll reverse your image on you. The software in a backup camera does an image reverse because you're looking at it in the mirror, and it's set up that way to be a mirror image versus a straight image.
Why are you looking in the mirror?
Because it's made. It's intended to be. It's made to be the reverse to look like your backup mirror.
I got you. Okay. Huh.
You have to stand on the other side of the lathe.
Yeah, I got you.
No,
Do you have OBS Studio? Hey, Bob,
Yeah.
you have OBS Studio?
No, OPS Studio.
OBS, it's a free software to manage cameras, and I can email you a set of instructions where you use OBS Studio to take a picture of your cutter and then feed that in through the computer, and it will superimpose the picture of your cutter on the holoform that you're turning.
Yeah.
Also on the club's website, I have about a 15-minute video where I show a bunch of different hollowing systems, including the backup camera and the hollowing system that I use. It uses a Logitech camera.
Yeah.
But the OBS Studio, I can email you a set of instructions that tells you put a piece of green paper behind your cutter, take a picture of it, and that acts as a green screen. It erases the background and just shows you the picture of the cutter on the holoform that you're hollowing. And the instructions are pretty straightforward. I can email that to you if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. I'm not sure that it'll work on my, like I said, on this tablet I have, but maybe it would work on a different one. You know, if I bought a newer version, still a used one, I don't want to put a whole lot into it, but still a used one. But yeah, if I'd appreciate that if you could email that to me.
OBS.
Go ahead.
OBS. I'm sorry. OBS is a great program for what we're talking about because you can actually expand on it. You can have 20 inputs into OBS if you want. You can pick them up from anywhere and they all go on a chart, and then you can switch and say you want to watch the bottle with the audio from this microphone. You can say, okay, this button's going to give me that camera, this microphone, this overlay for the text that I want to add, and maybe the in block. It's a free system, and they're constantly making adjustments to it, and it is fantastic. I'm being held down by the T-Mobile toy web thing, and when I used to click it up, we used to be able to do switches and all that stuff, and it was fun, but it took more bandwidth than this chicken dog thing will give us. And I can't find it. I've looked at it and talked to my kids who have different programs and, for their kids and everything else. And they can't find a good wireless system either. It's all of them say you got to get hardwired to get that much bandwidth out of it. And I have a 12 or 13-year-old granddaughter that's a genius at that stuff. And I mean, she understands the math of it. It's not pushing buttons, but she understands the math. And she said, okay, let me tell you how to build a booster. No. You don't want to build a booster. All of a sudden my desk starts smoking. I don't know.
I think everybody's trying to make this too complicated with software and everything else, because you can just go buy a cheap camera for 10 or 15 bucks off Amazon, plug it into the back of the TV, and you draw your cutter around it, but it's important to mark out the distance from your cutter with a ruler.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
and it's really important because the TV is a different size. It's not scaled 1-to-1. So you
Mhm.
think you're an 1/8 inch, you may be a 32nd of an inch.
Sure.
So you put a ruler down, mark out the distance that you actually want it to be off of the, if you want an 1/8 inch, you measure an 1/8 inch off of there. So you know exactly what you're doing.
Okay, and I agree. I don't know that I need a software package to try to do anything. I don't mind drawing it on the monitor. My question, I guess, from that relationship is, okay, what kind of a camera and what kind of a monitor input or an input am I looking for on a monitor?
Well,
you can buy TVs, but they're looking for HDMI or they're looking for RGB or they're looking for.
But most any TV I've seen also has the 3 inputs, the 2 audio and the video input. Just the regular old phono jack inputs.
Yeah.
And the
So
component
I'm looking for a camera with that output then.
You're looking for a camera with that output, the regular old phono jack output.
Yeah, but it's not the RGB output. It's not a camera that has the 3 different color output. If you look at the video cameras,
it has a video output and 2 and a audio output, and that's it.
Audio, sure.
And you don't use the audio, you just plug the video into it, but your TV's set up with two audio and a video input. It's component input to your TV.
So maybe I'm looking for a TV then, just a small cheap TV.
Yeah, an old cheap TV. You can a used one too. And I actually didn't even put a cover on. I just used the marker on the screen and then wiped them off.
Wiped it off, yeah.
I didn't get fancy with plastic or anything else. I just wiped it off.
Well, let me ask you this. Is this any better than using a laser? I mean, I've got a laser set up.
Yes, it is. Because a laser, if you think about it, you draw a circle around your cutter. A laser is 1 point off of the cutter, not the full circle. So every time you cut, if you're cutting on the shoulder and you're cutting on the neck versus the side of the vessel or the bottom of the vessel, on a laser, you have to reposition it each time.
Right.
Okay. This one you don't have to
can actually
reposition.
see the side of the tool rather than the tip of the tool.
Right. You draw a full circle around the tip of the tool where you're making the cut of the distance that you want it.
Yeah.
I set it up for a little micro hollowing thing, and heck, I think I had, other than the TV that I already had, I had about $20 in it, and that was about it.
Yeah, I just got to buy a different camera, and the one I bought was $10, but it's a webcam, and I think a webcam you're going to have software on your whatever to run it, right?
Well,
I'm going to jump in here for 1 second. See that? It's a JVC. And it's got a fancy AV out right here that you can get a patch cord for you, just like that. And that'll go to UBC if you want, or UBC. On the other side, they have it for their connector, which goes to the 3 prongs. Red,
RGB.
yellow. Yeah. All right. And then there's a phone jack connector that'll do the same thing. Now this zooms in and out. It'll record if you get the one with the chip in it that says recordable. This was recordable, so you don't need to store it anywhere else. It'll store it right here. You can just video with this, set it up to watch what you're doing if you choose, and then play it back through your computer or whatever. The beauty of this, it's expensive. This was $13.
Yeah, pretty expensive.
yeah, it was a step.
Yeah,
and it was an Amazon or no eBay. It was eBay, and I clicked
That's a little big to mount on top of your hollowing rig.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I need something light so it doesn't bounce around so much.
Yeah, that's why those backup cameras are perfect, because they're like 1 inch square.
Yeah, little small things. And maybe it comes with that monitor. That's probably all I need, a little 10-inch monitor. I don't need much. I'm just looking for something close where I can see it, but anyway, that's thanks, guys. I just didn't know what everybody else was using and whether there really was a cheaper software package or maybe just the monitor and writing on it's good enough.
I'm looking on Amazon and I'm seeing a mini spy pinhole camera.
Mhm.
And it has the regular video output to it, and that's it.
What
It's gonna
kind
have
of
a
regular?
It has a power input and then just a regular video output. And it would plug directly. It costs $14.
Yeah, plug
It's about-
directly into what?
It would plug. Well, you got one is power because you got to provide
Right.
power to the camera.
Right. Yeah.
And the other is just going to plug directly into the video on your TV, on the
Okay.
component part of the video on the TV.
Okay, all right, so I'd have to have the component input to the TV, and I'd have to get a TV or a monitor that has that.
Most of the TVs already have that.
Yeah, and maybe a TV is what I'm looking for. I don't know what they're really called. I hadn't really looked into this. As a monitor, just nothing but I don't know what all the inputs are for monitors.
And the camera size is 15 millimeter by 15 millimeters by 20 millimeters. So it's a very, very tiny light
those
thing
little
to sit up there.
Yeah, I need something that's real small, so there's no weight there.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, thanks. I'm
I got-
try that.
I got way off base when you started talking about cameras. I'm sorry, but
No, that's
I've
okay.
got one of those. It looks like a carpenter's pencil, the old round, heavier pencil you use in kindergarten. And that's what it looks like. And it's about 1.25 inches long. And it's got the same two leads Trace was just talking about. And I did a demonstration for a club up in the Washington, D.C. area where I put it on my hollowing tool with the little round, I can't remember the brand name. And they could see what I was doing better than I could see what I was doing. I was actually wanting to see, can I do this?
Yeah.
It's crossing my eyes, but and that was I think I got it from Cindy Drozda or somebody like that. I bought it at SWAT.
Yeah.
And it was one of these folks that had something like, "Oh, you never seen this before?" No, hadn't. Don't know where to find it. But nowadays, with the way Amazon and a few other of those marketing places have gone, man, you can shop for anything. Just here's the warning: if you open up somebody's website, Big Brother saw you do it, and everybody's going to bomb you with,
Yeah.
I looked up a pizza place for my in-law, my wife's mom and dad are getting a little more restricted on travel. And she says she likes to go, they like to eat at this pizza place near the house. So I looked it up the other day just to see where's Reginelli's at. I've been bombarded with pizza advertisements since that happened. And it was, he's watching. I didn't know he'd see me doing pizzas. But also I found out that senior citizens and Bud and Beverly are senior citizens. They get a delivery for half price. So, which is really, it helped them out. It's not that they can't cook. We don't really want them to do a lot of cooking. And he's about as skinny as a rail. And the joke is, if you got something sweet, bring in a bud so he can eat. So just so he puts on a pound or two. His doctor's so happy he puts on a pound or two. His doctor does cartwheels. Mine does cartwheels if I lose a pound or two. And that's working out pretty good. Remember, I saw somebody on Blue Bloods a while back on a rerun, and there's this guy, you look like you're not afraid of anything. And the guy said, "Yeah, I'm afraid of my scale." Some folks have to live that tight to it. We started listening to
Yeah, if you had that you had a USB camera on you, Kenny, I think you were talking about it. You had stuff on our website that I could go look at.
I think Dave's got it there. Yes.
Okay.
I was just looking.
And
I thought
are you able to, with the camera and the monitor? I mean, and a TV or a monitor. Are you able to zoom in?
with this one you can. If it's got, there is in fact, there's a push button zoom thing. Right? It's on the table over here someplace that you can just point at the camera and zoom it in. I started with this when I was at Bayou Woodturners, and we wanted to do the video, and everybody kept showing us these little cameras that come in burglar alarms and things like that to watch rooms. And we tried that. It was okay, just okay. And then one of the guys in the club said, you need to go find yourself at the pawn shop, one of those cheap damn cameras that's put out the RCA. I went and looked, and they all want to sell them for recording and all this other stuff. So I went to eBay and I bought one, $12, $14. And I got that in. And before I left the club, we had 4 cameras running in each demonstration, going through a switcher. One was straight over top. One was an end shot on a slight angle. One recorded the entire scene, and the 4th one did a back shot. And all on the overhead I built to hold everything. So it's a matter of maybe 20 minutes to set it all up, and that's an exaggeration, because we built the harnesses and all that, put a power in the output, went to the switch box. Then we pick a member to sit and watch the demonstration to decide which would go to the monitors, and that would go to the recorder. Only thing is, don't pick a guy that's in the front row, because he can see what's going on. He'll forget he's got this thing in his hand, and you can't do any signals to him, right? He's concentrating on a demonstration. He's watching what's going on. So after a while, I got to thinking about it. So gave the remote to a guy that was sitting way on the end over there, where he was relying on that screen to give him what was going on.
Eddie, let me answer the guy's question. He was asking, can you zoom in? And we're talking about hollowing. The answer is no. They're fixed. However, what you need to do is look at the field of view on the camera that you're getting. Some of them are 170 degrees, some of them are 50 degrees, or like 90 degrees, so little pinhole cameras. Get one that doesn't have a big field of view on it, and then you're not looking at everything. You don't have to look at everything else. You're
looking through a knothole.
You want to keep it down, so when you have a 90 degree versus 130 degree angle, the 90 degree is going to appear to be zoomed in more.
Yeah, I got you. All right.
And they vary, but I'm just looking at them now. They're all under $20, and just make sure you have that plug-in out of it. And you're probably gonna have to buy a little power supply to power it up, a little 9-volt power supply. 6-volt power supply.
Yeah, one of those 5-volt with like a charger for your phone or something.
Well, no, it's separate, and it has a separate plug. I think a little 6-volt or no, they may be 12-volt. A little 12-volt power supplies for that.
Okay.
But if you output that to, if you want to record or use it for something else, and you output it, it's going to come out as that pinhole view, which is beautiful. But if you want to zoom in to get even closer on a particular setting, that OBS program will take it, and you can pull it, move it up. And you can move your keyhole around on the image coming out of the camera, if you want to go that far. I happened on the OBS by one of our earlier members in this group. We're talking about adding some track down below the reminders and things like that. And that's what I have set up. It's just I can't drive it with this CS system I'm using. But any other input folks got? Let's hear about it. I'll go get them up.
Maybe Robert's
I
gonna
think
show us
Robert-
his video setup.
Say
Yeah,
again, Trey?
I think Robert Hodge is gonna try to show us something, so that'd be good.
Oh, that'd be
He
nice.
just
All right.
logged on. He just logged on off his phone, so he'll let us know here in a little bit.
Switching over this, I can't see the chat thing. It's not big enough. A few other notes. Oh, I threw an alert out early this week to the membership. Put it on Facebook, I believe. We've had a couple of requests to develop a club patch and to be sewn on the jackets and all this. So went and did a little shopping, and I tell you what, my brain hurts from it. I found a couple of places, but I can't get any honest to goodness pricing, and I don't want to send it across the seas to get done. But because some of these places are purely scam. Not that we don't have them here, but they're purely scam. But if your club has done patches, if you could get the contact and send it to me through the club website, my website, and my email, whatever, I'd like to give them a shot at it. We have the art generated in our regular Worldwide Woodturners art with the lathe and such, and my art director here says 3-inch would be about as big as we'd go, and it's going to have just Worldwide Woodturners and the lathe on it, unless somebody comes up with another one, because hey, it's yours. You can do that. But I think it'd be nice.
I'll check with my daughter on where she got my patch made at.
Yeah, I found sources for 2 and 20, but I sent them emails and all this about stepping up to 100 or 200, and because I don't mind buying into the stock of 100. I think we can sell them back to the membership. But I don't want that $2.39 a piece price. That's not a fair price in today's market for that. So just looking around, and the same thing goes for decals. We had decals made by a member one time. In fact, Trace has got one on his lathe right back there. Let me see, spotlight. See the decal on his tailstock right there? Worldwide Woodturners. Well, his used to say, his said worldwidewoodturners.com. That's where we wanted to go earlier. But we lost that chance. And the new ones would say worldwidewoodturners.org. But that's what we're looking for. Now that right there, I believe, is a 6-inch. That's when we first got started 3.5 years ago, and we were just taking what we got. And that's what we'll do again. But it'll be nice if folks got that. I had a really bug last summer when folks thought I was going to SWAT, and I couldn't go for this reason. And they asked me, we can bring decals. Man, I was shopping my butt off to get those decals before I found out I couldn't go. But fortunately, we passed out over 2,000 business cards while we were there, while y'all were there, because you did that. You stepped up and told folks about our meetings, and they understand we had a pretty good gathering of our folks there. In fact, Billy Burt was telling me he handing those cards out. Some guys had already got this from that guy, and they got this from that guy. So we were getting widespread. I have a new guy that said he wanted to join us tonight. I don't know how much were the dues. Gave him a discount. It's a really special offer. Only available on days that end in a letter Y. And then we had another guy. Oh, I remember this one. Yeah, he emailed me. It was great. He emailed me with his fantastic promotion project, and it looked really good until I read it over 2 or 3 times. It was not a pay-per-view. It was to allow us to include his commercials, which is pay-per-view. So we passed on. I want to insult them, but I really didn't see the gizmo. I think you could. I hate gizmos that do what you can do with regular tools. I really do. I don't think I ever have enough money to buy toys. But it's fun. What I like about when I was go to SWAT was the actual people that made and used these tools were there. JT Tools had a system like what Bob Grinstead was talking about, that look inside, and this is one that look overhead and see through the piece to show you where the wall of the piece is at and where the cutter is moving at. And I thought, man, that's the bee's knees. This is the best ever. And then a year or two later, I went back to another SWAT, and Bob had upgraded that program to even be an even better program for it. I just have not, since the problem, I have not been able to put it all together and make it work. But and Bill's gone now, but he would actually stand there and explain to you step by step how it happened and how it was developed. And it was like a combination of a wood turner and a computer genius, which was nice. Sometimes you need that. Okay,
Hey,
we'll open.
I just wanted to show my camera setup, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Who's that? This Bob. Go ahead.
This is Robert. Yeah, I'm on my phone, so I don't know if you have to pick me
Yeah, I
rather
guess I
than
was
my. All right.
like it here.
Okay, cool. So this is my setup here. I've just got this monster hollowing system that they don't make anymore, but then I have the Steve Center laser pointer is what is initially made for, but I just have this little round cylindrical camera here that's connected to the yellow video output, and then a cable, this red one's the power supply, and then that runs over to this monitor that I have mounted onto basically it's a 3/4 inch black iron bar that's mounted to the ceiling, so it's right above my headstock. Excuse the huge mess I have, but you can see here that I have the monitor and then the transparency sheet mounted, and then you can just move the tool inside and see where you are when you're hollowing. And that just mounts, or that's just plugged into the yellow video in on the TV. And then this power cable comes down and plugs in down here. So, and I provided links to all three of those items that I just kind of discussed.
Yeah,
That's
so
exactly-
really,
That's
yeah,
great, Robert. Thank
effectively
you.
yours is not, forget the monitor thing. It's really a TV.
Yeah,
Not
mine's
really
just a
monitor.
TV, a small little TV that I actually,
Yeah.
it came with the lathe. So
Yeah, that
but,
might
you
be
know,
what I need to be looking for, is a TV rather than calling it a monitor. And, you know, everybody expects other things in a monitor, so.
yeah,
I'd
if you
go
want
to-
if you want to
I'd go
go
to
the webcam route, you can do a monitor, but then you kind
Yeah.
of like need a T or a computer out in your garage and it gets dusty and everything. But
Yeah.
That's the exact same camera I have right there.
yeah,
Everything looks exactly alike. And that's with the JT Tools program, but the transparent overlay that you can look inside
yeah,
and see what, and you can mark it. You've got yours marked?
yeah. I've gotten
Um,
mine marked with both cutters just because I find it easier. I just pay attention to which one I have. So right now I've got a teardrop scraper on there, but then right next to it I have the little small, I guess high-speed steel cutter that when I swap out, I just move the transparency paper. And
Sure.
like Trace was talking about, you need to kind of put your ruler down and kind of, I think I have mine set to 1/8 of an inch right now.
Mhm.
Kind of got a glare. I'd have to adjust the lights, but you know, you have to set up where you want your wall thickness to be with the
Sure.
ruler and mark it on there, because the scale's obviously bigger on the TV screen than it is in real life, I guess.
Yeah, that's okay. I understand all that.
Yep.
I just didn't know if it was worth buying or trying to find a software program, but evidently not. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with this.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do YouTube lives, so I have like 3 webcams and I use OBS, but OBS gets a little complicated here and there, especially after your like computer doesn't update, you have to go change some stuff. So I just found this was, you know, plug and play, anybody can do it sort of thing.
Sure.
And the monitor with the quote marks around it, came from the red, white, and blue thrift store down the street.
Yeah.
I was just careful when I bought it. I brought in, when I said this is work, I brought in my little camera and my little charger and plugged it in to check it. And the first one I picked up worked. And then I got greedy and wanted to go to a bigger and bigger one. And well, that didn't work out. Then I realized, you know, you got yours up high, Bob, where you can look overhead. I actually mounted mine directly to my headstock on my old woodcraft or not wood find or whatever. I had a big green lake that I had for a while, and I had my monitor right there where that little stuffed animal is. That's you know, so they have to do the up and down shift on the head. It was like once you got used to it, that was a checking system.
Was that hodgepodge?
It is.
Yes.
So nice, so nice to see and hear from you.
Hey, Robert, before you disappear, could you briefly let me see your vacuum pump thing there in the back of your
okay,
lathe?
yeah. It's I bought it from I forget his name. He's at SWAT, but he's retired now. So I actually got it last
Is that the frugal vacuum chuck?
Yeah, I bought it from him. So it's just
what's it sitting in? What's the table?
This is just some little cart I got from IKEA, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
My wife no longer needed, and yeah, it just plugs in. Where is it? Here's the vacuum chuck that also came from the guy, the frugal guy I was working with, and it's got the bearing inside, so you just plug the hose into the other hose, and it works that way.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
No
I need
problem.
a table like that. I need a table like that for mine.
Yeah,
it's sitting on top of my wood pile behind my lathe there right now.
Hey,
yeah,
Matt, I'm sorry, Robert. Go ahead.
It's just a little 3-tier basket thing that has wheels, and it's got like a mesh thing. So I guess some shavings fall through, but.
There's a specialty shop near my house that sells those. Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
They have a tool tray on top and 2 toy trays underneath it for holding other parts. I bought one, and I think it went. It's not around here. It went with when the shop blew down, but it was handy because I could move it to right where I wanted it at. I do like that vacuum chuck with that ball bearing, that bearing in the bottom of the chuck and not out the back of the lathe, because just I think we eliminate some trouble areas when you keep stepping around.
Yeah, that frugal chuck, that's a good deal.
Now, what I did is I put my vacuum chuck 10 feet from my lathe, and then just ran a hose and put some valves over the top right behind my headstock and ran that. So the vacuum chuck is, you know, it doesn't have to be next to your lathe. You just have to have a hose from it.
Right.
And then I put some vacuum gauges, and I put 2 valves, one to turn it on and off, and another is a bleed valve, so I could actually control the pressure.
Ready to mail in.
Oh, so it doesn't, you can control it, won't crank up to the full 22 pounds, 24 pounds. You know,
If I open the bleed valve, I can keep the pressure down on it. And then I have an on-off valve from it, and I just turn the, you know, those pumps are made to run for hours when you siphon stuff out of a system in the car.
Yeah, and folks will say, why you want to reduce the suction? You can fold up a piece. You get a thin piece up on there, and you can easily fold it up.
Or suck the bottom out of it.
Yeah. Folks say, on a vacuum chuck? Yes. Break your heart? Yes.
We had a guy.
Matt, I have my vacuum pump and manifold system mounted to a piece of 3/4 inch plywood that's about, I don't know, 14 inches wide and 3 feet tall, maybe 40 inches. And I've just got it leaning, since my lathe is close to the wall, I've just got it leaning up against the wall, and I run a hose through my headstock to the vacuum chuck, and off we go.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Yeah, I have one of those. I go in, I don't have the hose that goes through the spindle. I just have a fixture that goes in the outboard side of the spindle, and the vacuum chucks just, vacuum goes through the spindle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just plug it in, but like I say, I need someplace to stash my vacuum pump. I had another friend of mine who built a sort of a thing onto his lathe for his vacuum pump and the valves.
Going on vacation for 2 weeks.
Oh, yep.
So I'll be there.
Yeah,
Very
I just
cool.
put
Thanks,
them out on
Billy.
a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, and then I can move it anywhere I want it.
Thanks, Billy.
No problem.
We had a guy make one out of a cow milking system, and it would bust the bowl no matter what it was, almost instantly. You couldn't even turn it on. I mean, it would just bust anything.
Wow.
I have pulled the bottom out of a really thin bowl before with the vacuum system.
This would just bust anything. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
You
I
gotta
was in it.
remember, a vacuum system can't pull more than 14.7 PSI. That's the max pressure it can pull.
That's right.
That's max. You can't pull any more than that.
Yeah.
So why does it say go up to like 27 on my gauge?
Those are
the-
inches.
Inches of mercury.
Right.
Okay.
The normal pressure that you normally, inches of mercury is usually about 30.
Okay. I'll have to look at it, but okay, cool.
But that 30 inches of mercury is about max, but that's equivalent to about 14.7 PSI. That's 1 atmosphere. And that's the max that's the max pressure you can put with a vacuum pump.
Okay.
You cannot go any more than 1 atmosphere unless you go underwater.
But that's more than you need anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It
Sounds like
is.
Well, and you can increase the pull by increasing the aperture of your or the cavity of your chuck.
That is correct. It says PSI is pounds per square inch. So it's 14.7 pounds per inch, square inch that you have there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got some really small vacuum chucks. But the big ones are the only ones that pull the bottoms out of thin things.
I'm a great fan of the PVC adapters for the vacuum chuck.
Me too.
Just saw one here on my
Yeah.
table. Build it
Yeah,
up.
that's what I do. Yeah, I've got a stack of them.
Yeah, and I've
Never
done.
thought I would hear atmospheric pressure and wood turning used in the same context. My day
You
is
want it better-
complete. Actually, my month is complete.
I went to an
Well, you-
AAW
Awesome.
exhibition one time, and the guy was talking about you need to get 30 pounds of vacuum. And I'm sitting in the back thinking, you can't go to 30 pounds of vacuum, not in this world. And they passed out a handbill advertising somebody's vacuum pump that was being sold there, and somebody wrote over it 30 pounds of vacuum, and they've never seen a bowl go completely into a piece.
Well, you can get 30 pounds, but you got to be about 33 feet deep underwater with scuba tank on.
Yeah. See, that's turning wet wood. I knew that's where turning wet wood came from.
Hey, you guys want to see a quick picture of my vacuum chucks?
Yes.
Okay. Sure. So these are the ones I use, and they're all PVC. Well, they're not all PVC pipe, but I have a spindle tap. So I make these little nuts on the bottom, and then I put the PVC in. And the big one on the right is a cut up yoga mat that I use bigger things. And the one on the lower left is it's closed cell foam. And I put the concentric circles on there with the Sharpie so I can center pieces on them really easily.
Because you
And the
can't
foam-
slide it around once you bring up the vacuum.
Yeah, it's just a picture. Yeah, well, you can. I mean, and that's what the relief valve is for. You can, lower your pressure and move it. So, if you're only pulling like 3 you know, and it's just barely being held on there, you can slide it. And then once you've got it where you want it, you just close the lever all the way. And
That's
the
nice.
foam that I've used on the 3 ones in the middle, that's just, that's Walmart craft foam. It's a closed cell foam. It's thin, provides real good padding. And I use I mean, clearly I use packing tape to seal it on there. So anyway, those are my current ones. I think I've got another one somewhere, but I don't have a picture of it.
Oh, really? Good.
So, and the beauty of that stuff is you can build it, change it, develop it yourself, size it up for a piece. If you don't hold a whole lot of thin wall cups or boxes of a certain size with the PVC connections, they had to be, you got to seal them with something. Okay, when you put them all together, and don't seal them with super glue. That's a bad idea. But you put it in there, you can just slip pieces on and off to redo bottoms or decorate them or whatever. And that's the beauty of a vacuum. And years ago, I bought a thing, and I don't remember the brand name, but it was a square box. It was a double Venturi vacuum that worked under air pressure. And you'd put your 75, 80 pounds of pressure in the inlet, and then you could dial up the vacuum that it developed, and it worked really good if you didn't lose the air. Worked really good if you didn't have any leaks in the system. But it was nice. It was, I don't think I paid $100 for it. It was really nice. And I got other adapters to go around the spindle and stuff like that. And 8 or 10 years ago, I bought this rig made by One Way. It's a 33 millimeter, like a sleeve adapter, like a shaft adapter that went in, and it had a spinning air chuck on the side of it. And you didn't need all that bearing and all that on the inside. The bearing was in that piece. You could thread it on and snap your hose on it and bring a piece up in a heartbeat. So you could do a dedicated foam faceplate or foam backing pad, and you know, quickly go to it. It's a nifty tip. And even at Harbor Freight, they've got some pretty good vacuum pumps for doing automotive AC work, and or central systems. I think the one I got here, the guy next door was doing repairs on central air conditioning systems. And when I talk vacuum pump, he just went to his truck and got his old one. That thing worked like a charm. It was noisy, but yeah, you have to give up one thing for another. Anybody got any gallery right now before we go to Bob Grinstead for the demonstration?
We have a couple. Let's go to Brenda. She's got her wave bowl done. Hey, Brenda.
And her kitty cat.
Yeah, the cat just comes up here.
Yeah,
Look, I got a wave. I did it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
it is pretty.
Look at
That's
that.
nice, Brenda.
Very nice.
And look, the inside looks even nice.
That's very pretty, Brenda.
I need a larger bandsaw.
Yeah, this is as big as I can get under my bandsaw with the jig. And it did develop a little, where's it at? A little chip here at the top. You see the
I
little,
was going to say last week
finished
when you
that.
showed it, it looked like a hat with a halo,
yeah. Looks kind of
but
pretty.
it looks great right now.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
You're doing a really good job. That is not easy to do.
Check out the bottom.
Oh wow!
You're doing a really great job.
Wow.
That's cool, Brenda. I love it.
Yeah, and see, you see that spot right up there? That's where one of the cow pins went through. I didn't realize it went that deep, but just about got that piece out of there too. But
Oh, it's beautiful, Brenda. Don't
all
be
full
too.
of cracks.
It's
but
gorgeous.
I thought it turned
Very
out
pretty,
good.
Brenda.
Good.
Cracks just add character.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Oh,
that's
Pretty work. Thank you.
yep.
Job.
Who else we have?
Well, let's see. We got Scott.
I'm here, Dane.
You out there, Scott?
Yeah, you got me, Dane?
he's got
Yep.
you.
I don't see myself. Oh, there we go. So I just made a little piece of bowl that probably should have been thrown in the garbage.
Oh, no.
Uh-uh. No,
at the-
that's gorgeous.
Oh, that's a pretty piece.
Yeah, you don't throw
That
pretty
is
wood
pretty.
away.
Yes, back it up a little bit.
That just adds character, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
That's beautiful.
That's a piece of
That
river
would-
birch,
River birch.
and the burl grew in between the two crotches on the tree. So this is what was left after they cut the burl off.
Wow, beautiful.
Looks good.
Yeah, it is
That's
really,
really
pretty.
nice. I like that.
Natural voids just add to a piece like
Oh,
that. They
yes.
don't take away from it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Love
That was
it.
actually a limb, and I asked you guys what to fill it with. So that's got coffee grounds in it, and some of them I just didn't get them in far enough. They just popped out.
It looks good.
Well, you got that void so you can see what's inside of it.
That's right.
That's just not enough CA.
And I got it pretty thin. It's about 3/16 of an inch thick,
There you go.
all the way,
Yeah, it
all
looks
the way to
better.
the bottom. The bottom is, I can see
better
light
open.
through the bottom.
Yeah, it looks better
Oh.
without the coffee grounds.
Yeah, I think so too.
Looks nice.
Yep.
I love it.
Thank you.
Very
Love
nice.
that
What I got.
green.
What'd you
All right, thanks,
finish?
Scott.
What'd you finish that with?
I put a coat of Mylan's saline sealer on it, and it's got 5 coats of shellac over the top of that.
Very nice.
Job. All right, let's go to Billy.
Oh,
Oh, there he is.
I've just got a little French style rolling pin. Finished it up today. See if
Yes,
we
I
can-
seen that on Facebook. That thing is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
That's
beautiful.
pretty, Billy.
It's got a little spalting in it. It looks like I didn't know that it was going to have spalting in it when I did it. This was the bottom of, they call it cedar elm here. It's just small elm tree. They get pretty big though. But it was just, the limb was probably, the tree itself was probably only about 3 inches around. And I had this piece right down at the bottom that was straight enough to be able to turn. Wife's best friend wanted a French style rolling pin, so that's what I used. And the grain in it is just really pretty.
Yes.
Sanded it to 600. Part of the ends off, so there's no dimples in the bottoms. But I sanded it to 600, and then since I did not use Axe abrasive paste on it, but since Axe polish and restoring paste is food safe, I put a couple of coats of that on here, and then I will just tell her to keep it treated with mineral oil as necessary.
But the spalting, you can just double the price.
Oh, yeah.
How big
And all those little limb knots, I think are pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yes.
around is that, Billy?
It's 1 3/4 inches. 1 inch at the end and 1 3/4 here at the middle. I've been asked, you must have a duplicator to get something that straight.
Mhm.
No, I don't. I get it down close to within like 1/8 of an inch or so. And then I take a parting tool and make a couple of marks. I took it down. I put 4 spots in it, or 3, and took it down to within about a 32nd of an inch of where I wanted it. Got it close with my skew and or my big spindle gouge. And then I cheated in order to get this down to the size I wanted and all nice and straight. I take this, I got a piece of oak, 3/4 inch oak that I know is dead flat. I put a piece of 100 grit sandpaper on it, and I just hold it up and let this take it down so that it's all nice and flat. Works great, and I don't have to beat myself up over little or dimples or waves in the piece when I'm doing roller pins. So it works
Nice.
really, really well for me.
That's a good idea.
Is 1 inch
Stick.
3/4 kind of a standard size, Billy?
Well, it's from what I've pulled up on the internet for French rolling pins. Yes, most of them are about 1 3/4 inches. The the slope starts about 4 inches in. This is 20 inches long. Again, that's based on the size of most of them that I've seen online. And so I just pulled up French rolling dimensions, and most of them say pretty much the same thing, and that's what I go to.
I got a bunch of piano blanks that were rejected for the legs, and
Yeah.
they're 20 inches long, but they're only 1.5 inches square. I was hoping I could make French rolling pins with those because I got like a couple hundred of them.
Oh my, yeah, that might be a little small. You could try, see if it worked out. You wouldn't think that 1/4 of an inch would make that big a difference, but on something like that, it might.
Smaller
On a-
price.
But you can go for a smaller in length, about 9 inches with one end sloped, Scott, and they're
Okay.
called dumpling rolling pins. And the
Oh,
chef,
yeah.
the dumpling chef rolls it, does everything with one hand. The tapered end, it is concave, and so they use that to also make their dimple for their filling. And then the square end is when they roll it around, that's what they use to cut the pasta itself.
Oh, I'll look
So
them
that
up,
would
Dane.
be-
Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. I've got some posted, I think about 1 year or 2 years ago on my page if you want to see an example.
What'd you call that, Dave?
a-
Dave?
A dumpling pin.
Dumplings.
Yeah, they make pasta cutting ones too.
Yeah.
You know, basically, they almost look like one of those honey dippers. They've got so many lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Cut up your
Yep.
spaghetti or whatever.
A noodle pin.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've got a couple of them posted as well a couple years ago on a run that I did for a chef out here.
So the size probably really depends on who's using it anyway, you know.
Probably.
All right. Thanks, Billy.
Not a problem. Thanks, everyone.
All right, let's go to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Hello. A couple years ago, there was a wood turner that was retiring from wood turning and was having a big garage sale, and I went out there and felt obliged to buy something, and he had a piece of yew, and I'd never turned it before, and I bought this piece from him, and it was about the size of a hockey puck. It wasn't big, but I made a little something. Let me switch cameras. Let me learn how to operate this computer.
Ooh.
And that is
Pretty.
a little hollow form, and the top is real ebony. It was a pen blank that I bought from Rockford, but the collar and the bottom and the base was all maple that I ebonized using that black acrylic lacquer. And I don't know if Joaquin's online yet, but he had asked about that black lacquer prior. Anyway, it turned out pretty neat. I think if I had to do it over again, I would put some more embellishment or some sort of more shape to the stem rather than just that flare at the top. Then the next piece.
I think that's really pretty.
Thank you.
Oh, it's a lot smaller than it looked.
Yeah, it's only, like I say, a little bit bigger than a hockey puck.
Is that your camera that's making the clicking noise? Yeah, that's better.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That, a couple years ago, we had Dixie Biggs come to our club and do a demo, and she does some incredible carving, and I don't have those skills. But one thing she showed us is this little project where you use the index, while the piece is still on the lathe, use your index system and draw your vertical lines, and then by eyeball do the horizontal line. So you have kind of a grid pattern, and then take a little carbide burr, high-speed burr, and just burn dots into the piece, and then take a vibrating engraver and go from the bottom of one dot to the top of the next, And really, it's a simple project, but it sure came out neat. This was a piece of magnolia, it was real bland. So after I did the texturing stuff, I dyed it yellow using a alcohol-based dye. And then rubbed a black wax to highlight those marks made by the vibrating engraver. And this is a little itty bitty piece. It's not but about 3 or 4 inches tall.
Gorgeous.
Fun project.
It's beautiful.
Awesome.
Real pretty.
Nice
Yeah,
job, Tom.
Dixie is a wealth of ideas. This is one of the Zentangle patterns.
That's really
and
nice.
there's
I like that.
There's
Yeah.
a ton of things you can do with them. Yeah, very nice,
Exactly.
Tom.
Exactly right. Thank you. Appreciate the nice comments.
Let's go to our resident teacher. Hey, Doug.
He's
Doug,
moving around. There he is.
where are you?
Hey, there we are.
Professor,
Professor Rowe.
we got you.
Just a little bowl this time.
Cat. Piece of mesquite.
It is a big piece of mesquite. Turned it as a bird mouth bowl, but I didn't quite get that undercut enough. So I didn't quite get the beat as much as I would have liked. And then I did have a pretty nice throat on it. But then when I opened up the inside, I wasn't paying attention and I turned away my throat. By the time I realized I was doing it, it was too late. So it does go from the mouth and then makes the hard curve in and then follows the contour down. But they're a lot of fun to make. I think probably most everybody on here has made more than a few. But I turned this one live on TikTok, and it was hilarious looking at the comments from the non-wood turners and how scared everybody was. And he's going to hurt himself. That guy's not a professional. And then the real wood turners are in there going, he's fine. That's how it's done. And that he's not a professional was my funniest one. When I stopped and read that one, I said, you're absolutely right. Because what does it mean to be a professional? You got paid to do it, and nobody's paying me to do this. So I'm not a professional.
That's great.
Yeah,
You're doing stuff on
Looks good,
TikTok
Doug.
now.
Looks good. Looks great.
Doug.
thanks. Yeah,
Right.
they're a lot of fun to make. And yes, that was greenwood. To turn a dry piece of mesquite that long, well, that'd take a couple of years probably.
Yeah, you'd still be turning that.
Yeah, it was definitely greenwood.
Yeah, very good.
Good to see y'all again tonight.
Yep.
All right,
Gorgeous.
let's go to Bob.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Bird.
Hi,
How are
Bob.
ya?
How's Bob?
How you doing,
Got
Mr. Moffett?
Piece I did.
Our new members.
Oh,
It's
my.
a piece of maple,
Ooh.
and it's about 3 inches thick. I used a router jig that I made to do the router work on it, and then textured the inside. I held it with a recess, and I dyed it yellow first, and then dyed it red, and then sanded away part of most of the red, so it would show up yellow on the inside, and then textured it.
It's
About
beautiful.
10 inches in diameter.
It's cool.
That's nice. Very pretty.
That piece. That
Bird
Use it
bath.
for the Inchons.
It's a bird bath with
What
leading
is-
tributaries.
It's beautiful, Bob. That is
For your
beautiful.
tributary.
That-
what
that
you use
is
to
their
carve
lane,
in
huh?
your tributaries.
That's not your
What you use-
typical pretty piece, Bob. That needs a home. You can just send it to me. I'll send you my address.
I'll
Absolutely.
consider
gorgeous.
that.
How did you
Talk
carve
to
in
my
your
wife about
tributaries?
Nice ability to step up to adopt it.
That's all I have.
How'd you carve in your tributaries? How did you carve in your tributaries?
I used a
Router jig.
router jig mounted on a post. Was post that held a router, and then it's in the banjo, and just it turns in. You have to do a lot of measuring, and you have to be very careful because you don't one shot at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking there.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
get it a little bit
gorgeous.
off, the whole thing's gone.
Right.
And it looks like you textured that too.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yeah, I
It looks
textured
like-
it too.
looks like-
Demonstration.
That
I
is
couldn't hear you.
Demonstration.
Oh, thank you.
It's just absolutely stunning, Bob. It really is.
Thank you.
When Bob
Nice
said
job.
thank you about the demonstration, was that a commitment, Dane?
I think I was just straight up, thank you. I'll defend him on that one. Yeah. All right, let's go to Lakewood. Hey, Dave.
Hey, here I am.
We got you.
I don't know if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I showed this and the lid was a mess. And I'd tell you how I held it on the lathe, but Safety Sue would be upset with me.
Oh, yeah, be careful.
Yeah,
I would print, probably.
yeah. But it worked and I was very careful, very, very light cuts and
It's
it came
lovely.
out okay. Yeah, thank you.
Looks good.
That looks great, Dave.
And then this one,
Nice.
I'm not sure about the wood selection for the cover.
I like the shape of that lid.
It's a
I
piece
like
of
it.
oak. Yeah, I had to turn it. This is another one I'd get in trouble with. But it's walnut in the base and oak on the top. And I got some
Oh, nice.
little surprises in the inside. And I had to do the top twice because I didn't like the curve and the knob on the first one. So I took it and sort of ended up being twice turned.
I like the shape. The
Yes.
straight cylinder with the dome top almost has a Middle Eastern look to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
well,
I like that.
It's awesome.
and then I found one of the ugliest pieces of wood in my shop and wasn't really sure what it was. And it turned out to be oak. And it made a nice little oak bowl.
Ain't nothing ugly about that.
Yeah,
Pretty,
well,
yeah.
it started out awful ugly. I was amazed that it came out really nice.
That looks like a nice little baby food bowl.
Yes, for the baby.
Yeah.
Storage in it.
And then I have sort of a plain vanilla maple bowl. That was a
Still
little
pretty.
different. Yeah,
Yep.
I
Got a
like
little
the tin too.
outside.
but other than that, I didn't get a lot done this week.
All right, Dave. I'm gonna
That's
buy
it.
it. Why is it you think you were turning the lid the wrong way? What were you doing?
Well, everybody suggested, double-sided tape and yada, yada. And what I found was that I have a 4-inch chuck and this was too big to fit on the outside and too small to fit on the inside. So what I did, I adjusted the jaws so that they were the same as this rim. And then I put about 5 or 6 rounds of tape on it. And it held, and I was very careful, very gingerly with very sharp tools. And yeah, so all it was holding it was the tape.
You live right.
So that was
Yeah.
so that was sound. So another option that you could do there is take a tennis ball, put in your chuck, and then put that lid over the tennis ball, your live center coming in against your cap there, and then turn it.
Oh, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that.
Okay.
I'll keep that in
Perfectly
mind.
sound
though.
as well. All
And you
right.
were wearing a safety shield, right?
Oh, you betcha.
Yeah.
And
See,
he was
you
Safety
standing off
shield
to
plus
the side.
glasses on the inside,
were safe.
And you were standing off on the side, so
for the most part, yes.
All right.
right on. Good job,
Very
Dave.
good.
Thank you.
All right, Eddie.
Yes, sir, we're back.
Fan back. Let's go back. Let's go to safety too, so we can get our safety moment, and then we'll go back to you, and then we'll probably go to Bob.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
Sue.
I very rarely.
Hi,
Hi there.
Sue.
Hi. I very rarely go on FaceTime, maybe once a month. This month I went on twice, and both times I was tagged by Brenda and Dane.
Oh, no.
Goes, oh, yes. Of some clown that reached over his lathe, and it looked like, you know, the cartoons with the wool sweater where someone pulls on it and it completely unravels you.
Yeah, I saw
Well,
that
Right.
video.
this guy must have had a very old t-shirt. That's what it looked like when it got caught. And if that was a new t-shirt, he would have been in there. He wouldn't have been able to
Yeah.
just stand there. So I don't know if that was staged or not, because that had to be a very fragile t-shirt to do that.
Right.
But
Right.
the big thing taken away from that, one, don't reach over your lathe. You've got tools behind your lathe, turn the
Yes, I
lathe
don't like that.
or move your lathe. The only thing behind my lathe is a wall. It's a dirty wall, but it's a wall. And the guy also had flip flops on, and oh my gosh, it was it was an entire advertisement of what not to do in your shop. The other one looked like a guy had a cutoff tool and an angle grinder, and he had a long beard, and he cut that sucker in half. So he had little pieces of long beard here, and he cut it off here. Well,
And it was in the grinder.
yeah, that was in the grinder. So thank God that it cut it off. That's why I said it had to be a cutoff tool. Because if it got the grinder, he'd be lucky to have a chin left. So
Right.
be careful. Okay. I mean, I know I hit a knot in some wood that I was wrapping on brought my hand right into it. So it only takes a second for something to happen. So be careful, be safe this week, because I'd love to see you next. Take care.
Thank you, Sue.
Thanks, Sue.
Members, that's that spotlight on Sue. Sue is a member just like everybody else is. And she stepped up and started doing our safety moment. It's very good to remind folks about those things. It's that what if. It is. And that click you hear might be the last one you hear. So let's tighten up a little bit. And Sue said about the guy with the beard. I watched a young man with this scraggly beard, 4-inch grinder with a wire brush on it. He pulled it up. Now get this, he already raised up his shield that he was wearing, and he still had the thing running. And it just pulled all the hair out of the bottom, all this, just pulled it out. I mean, I had him on the ground with a rag on his face thinking, you know, how are we going to get to stop this bleeding? But it wasn't that much of a bleeding, but it pulled. And, you know, it was it was that snap. It was that idea. You know, I didn't realize what would happen or could happen. And that's what we ask you to think about. We heard this before. Count to 5. When you're going to do something like that, count to 5. Take 5 seconds. I guess if it's good, bad, ugly, you know, safe or whatever, think about it before you press the trigger, before you undertake it. Scott, somebody just said that he held that with such and such chuck, and he held it right. I've done that. I've done that myself. I made jam chucks out of foam board. Just to hold the piece to stabilize it. But I knew what I was holding and how I was holding it and what the precautions were. Because if I got like a horse and took a bite out of it, it'd be on the other side of the yard. So take that 5. Take that 5 all the time. We're going to go to that. Hey.
Before you go to the demonstration, did they ever get the whole story on what happened to that priest that died with his lathe?
He was not wearing a shield, and he had a catch, and the piece came up and got him straight across the face.
Wow.
And I got that from the crime scene investigator that went there to establish what happened. And then you have the insurance companies getting involved. So she remembered what was all that stuff, and she said, "Man, you can get a shield at Home Depot." No, you can't. Trust me,
No.
you can't get what you need at Home Depot. If you want to look cool and have a little plastic in front of you, that's fine. But those of us who know what that little bitty piece of wood will do if it makes contact right here,
Yep.
you'll step up. All right, let's go to our demonstrator.
Can I add one safety note?
Of course you
Go
can.
ahead, Billy.
Please do.
I saw a video this week on, I don't know, Instagram or TikTok or something. A young lady, woodworker, very talented young lady. She's very experienced. She was using a circle cutting jig on her table saw. And a lot of us have table saws in our shops and we use them regularly. She was fortunate to have a saw stop because when she was in the process of using this circle cutting jig, she made the mistake of putting her hand on the back side of the blade to turn the piece, and it caught and it spun her hand into the blade. Had she not had a saw stop, she would have lost her hand.
That just hurts talking about it.
Yeah.
No
Yes,
kidding.
it does.
Do not put your hand on the backside of a table saw blade ever. For
And
any reason.
table saws don't cut circles, period.
No,
Okay, well, they're not meant to, no.
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 So just
Or
be careful.
meant to make
Just
bold.
be careful.
Think it all the way through, folks. Think it all the way through. All right, our demonstration tonight is a video presented by Bob Grinstead, one of our old-time members. And we got to this big conversation earlier about cameras and connections and all that stuff. And that's something we're proud that we vary off course a little bit. And I'm not talking way off course. I'm talking about the possibilities, what you can do in your shop with what you can build and you can make. Well, we got the vacuum trucks last week. We got into dust collection and such. Well, Bob's got this little thing for you. And we're going to go to Bob right now, as soon as I find him. And Bob's going to show us our demonstration for the evening. But please remember, this is Bob's demonstration. You can ask questions, but not comments on this demonstration until he wraps up and asks for questions and answers, et cetera, et cetera. Let's give Bob a chance. What's up, Bob?
Hey, yeah, hey guys. I just wanted to, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You're on.
Oh, okay. All right. I just
Yes,
wanted
sir.
to show you this. I mean, there's lots of different ideas out here for portable sawmills, you know, the Alaskan sawmills to the more expensive ones. And this one I like real well because it kind of sits off to the side. It doesn't sit on the wood itself, the actual tree trunk. And it's real easy to use. I'm telling you, it makes nice quick cuts, very straight, very level. So anyway, let me see if I can share the screen here and pop over to this video.
We're ready for you.
Let's see if that's it. Yeah, there we go. Can you hear it?
Sawmill
Can you turn it up?
that I have. It was inspired by
Is it better?
YouTube. He made his
Yes.
out of two before. And I thought, well, I could do that, but I'm gonna make it out of metal. So I made mine out of 1-inch square tubing. Using this is a lot faster, and to me, an old illustrator, I can't cut a straight line or a straight slab with using just a chainsaw by hand. So this really works out great for me. I usually get the wood from tree trimmers. I call them up. I have several tree trimmer numbers in the area here, and I call them up and ask them what they're trimming for the week, and go over there about the time they're cutting the trunk down, and ask them to if I can have some wood, and they're more than willing to give it to you. They'll cut it, they'll load it, or help you load it onto a trailer. I've got a little 5x10 trailer that I use. It's easy to load it onto it, and they'll do it all for you nearly. They're not a whole lot of work on your end or on my end. So I usually want multiples of whatever the trunk is. You know, if it's a 10-inch trunk, then I want them to cut it in multiples of 10-inch, you know, lengths. So either, you know, 10 or 12, or let's say 20 or 24-inch length of a 10-inch trunk. That way I can bring it home and slab it out. And if they can get it bigger than that, I'd like to have it bigger. The trailer will hold up to a 24-inch trunk without a problem. 24 inches in diameter and 4 foot long without an issue. You know, once you get it on the trailer, then I never take it off the trailer. It stays right there. I position it in the center of the trailer, put the chainsaw mill, you know, down the side of it, and screw it down so it doesn't move around, and screw the trunk of the tree down so it doesn't move around. And then I can slab it out, you know, and make whatever cuts I need. Let's say that it's 24 inches in diameter, and I'm going to make multiple cuts up and down one side. I normally want 5-inch blanks because that's what I like. My bandsaw is not but a 6-inch, so but a 5-inch works great for me. It makes good sized bowls. So I end up with 5 inches thick and now whatever diameter I can get out of the slab. But if it's a large tree, then I go ahead and cut it multiple times, all on the same side, till I get everything cut or all the cuts on one side done. And then I flip it over. I either depend on the log, but if the log is only a small log or not very long, easy to maneuver, I'll cut it all down one side and then turn the log around in the trailer, just flip it around and cut down the other side. If it's a long one, like 4 foot long or something, I don't. I cut everything on one side, like all of the slabs, all of the cuts on one side, and then I'll take this chainsaw mill, pick it up. It's light enough. It's probably 25 pounds or something. So you pick it up and you put it on the other side of the log on the trailer, and screw it back down again, and run the chainsaw wheel and cut a lot over there, every slice that I need over there. My chainsaw sits in an angle. I tried putting it in straight, but that doesn't work real well. It's hard on the bar. It's hard on that tip. The tip wears out real quick. So I put it in at an angle. And so really I have an 18-inch chainsaw, 4.5 parts, 18-inch chainsaw. So when I put it at an angle there, I'm only cutting, 12, 14 inches into the log, but that's okay. I can do this on both sides. Let's say I had a 24-inch log, then I can almost come to the middle, or it might be coming to the middle. But if it doesn't bother me. But I can then, after I get both sides cut, I can take the saw and flip the log up on the edge and go down it manually then and cut out that 2-inch or 4-inch or whatever is left in the center. So that doesn't seem to be a real problem. Well, let me go ahead and show you this chainsaw mill in operation. I've got my wife helping me today. She's actually running the wrench. She's the power behind this thing. So let me get started and show this thing to you. It's made out of 1-inch square tubing, like I said, and it's 16 inches wide, or about 16 inches wide. It is about 6 foot long. I have pieces that hold it up off of the bed of the trailer, little 1-inch scrap pieces, just to pick it up out of the sawdust, so it's not, not binding anywhere. The hold downs, you have to hold this thing to the trailer. So I do have hold downs that 3 of them across here that actually screw with one screw that screws them down. I usually only use 2 screws, one at the front and one at the back. The hole is on the trailer. There's not a whole lot to hold. You can see one of them here. It's just a piece of angle iron that's welded on there to so I can screw it to the trailer. The actual carriage itself is made out of 3/4 inch tubing, so it'll fit inside this carrier. You see this carrier right here? You want it to be able to slide up and down so you can get your chainsaw to move up and down. So this is 3/4 inch. The top portion up here is my pulley system. This is what I put pressure on, and I can crank this in conjunction with the springs and the pulleys down here, and put tension on the chainsaw to run it through there. The chainsaw itself sits right here on the corner. I have the hole here. You have to put a hole through your through the blade of your chainsaw, which is no big deal. It's like a 1/2 inch hole, and put a couple of bolts here. I mean, a couple of washers on here to lift it up off of the frame itself, and then I bolt it down. There is a bolt back here just to hold the back end of the chainsaw to keep it from going up and down or trying to move on me. But otherwise, this centerpiece rides up and down on this piece of all threaded rod here. Let me show you the tensioning system. The tensioning system is a set of pulleys. I've got double pulleys on each end. You see those double pulleys and a spring. The spring gives me tension, so I know how much tension I'm putting on it. I can sit there and watch the spring, and as it gets longer, it gets out here about 8 or 9 inches. Well, I stop putting pressure on it and let the chainsaw catch up, and then turn it some more, and it'll keep pulling it through there, through the cut. And of course, that string goes up here at the top. There's nothing special about this. I think it's like when I double it 4 times down there, I think it's like 4 times the pressure, whatever I've got on the wrench, it's 4 times that pressure on the chainsaw. Let me put the saw back on here and show you what that looks like. Okay, I have the chainsaw on here now. It's held by 1 bolt. Like I said, I think it's about a 1/2 inch, whatever, 3/8 bolt. Doesn't matter a whole lot, but that's how it's held there. And of course, in the back, I've got a bolt here to hold the back end of it up. This carriage, like I said, goes up and down real easy. The thinnest piece, I guess, from the top of the trailer to the chainsaw is 5 inches. And that's usually what I want bolt lengths anyway. So that's what my 5-inch limit on the bottom. You can make the slabs any thickness that you want them. I just can't get closer to the trailer than 5 inches. This A-frame collapses. It all comes apart. This thing comes out of here. And then this bottom piece down here flops up. So it ends up being, a couple of inches wide. That little bracket sticks out, but it's 2 inches wide and 3 foot tall and about 16 inches wide. And so you can store that. The frame itself is nothing but a flat piece that's 16 by 6 feet, and that all stores pretty easy. So let me show you how this works. Okay.
I don't know if it cuts out that noise or not.
Okay, now that I have it cut, and I can, on one side, I can flip this thing around. I can either take this unit and put it on the other side of the trailer, flip it around and come back the other direction and cut it. Or in this case, the log is small enough, I'm just gonna turn the log around. And I don't have to undo the supports on the ends or anything. Just turn it around and take it through it again and slice it right off. And then once I do that, then I'll turn it over, the whole log over, and cut the other side to my 5-inch blank or whatever size blank I want. Anyway, it's a perfect deal for me. It works great. Okay, so I have it turned around and I'm going to cut it back the other direction. And then we'll flip it over in a minute. All right, I got it turned over and tied back down again, the bed of the trailer. So I'm going to cut this again and make a bowl blank about 5 inches. All right, as you can see, it makes a good slice. Makes perfect blanks here. Let me get that thing loose and I'll show you the blank. This is in the crotch of a tree and I've got enough crotches, so I'm just trying to make a bowl out of it and get that grain somewhere around the bottom of it or the side. But I think it'll be pretty. This is cherry. Anyway, that's it. Let me show you when I get it loose. All right, so here's my blank back again. So there's my blank. It's about 5 inches thick. And straight and smooth. So this thing works great. Let me show you the deals that I hold it with. It's nothing but a piece of 2x4 on some type of 1-inch crap stuff, pine. You got lag bolts that screw into the body of the piece, and then I've got a couple of screws that screws it down to the bed of my trailer. And once I get the slab cut out and flat, then I'll lay out the bowl that I want. So I take the compass and lay out the maximum size bowl. In this case, it's where I've got drawn in the black lines here. Then I take not a hacksaw, I take a chainsaw and cut out the worst of the excess. So that now I end up with blank. And in this case, it's a crotch, so I'm looking for where the center of this of each one of these things are. So here is about the center of the pit on that side, and the other side is back here too. So what I want to do is to make this the top of the bowl. So when I cut it into the bowl, some of this will still be left. I'll try to make a lot of this go away. I'll end up with maybe a shallow bowl, something about like that. But it'll still be big enough for what I want, 3-inch bowl. So anyway, let me take it over to the bandsaw. I'll cut this out, and we'll go again. I have an extension table on my bandsaw. I'll have more support for the blanket, and I have it propped up down here, but it keeps it from moving around so much. And I put wax paper or parchment paper, a freezer paper, anything to make this thing slide a little easier. Because sometimes it's not that easy. Just kind of set it under here a little bit and cut it out. I always start my bowls out with a mortise. So I have a 2 1/8 inch rougher bit in here, and I just drill a little mortise in it. I've tried the screw thing, and it's always either too tight or too loose, breaks out, or so anyway, I gave up. It's easier just to drill a hole in it and use that. So that's what I do.
All right, guys, that was it.
It's pretty slick sawmill,
Excellent.
Bob.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Nice
Worked
sawmill,
like a
Bob.
good-
That was very nice. Thank you. Thanks for the ideas.
Is that an Izzy Swan idea, Bob?
Yeah, that was an Izzy Swan idea. He made it out of 2x4s, but I didn't like the 2x4 idea. So
I'm
Yeah.
making one out of an extension ladder on the same principle.
yeah, that would work too. Anything that, even this, I mean, it doesn't have to be in a trailer. You can just set it on the ground, and have some way to mount it to keep it from moving around so much on the ground. But yeah, so you just need something to pull it. I tried pushing it, and it's not easy to push through. It's a lot of effort to try to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and this is no effort. That little wrench turns real easy, and there's no effort at all hardly to push it through here, and it's very fast. It's not since it's not jumping around and moving around, well, it cuts pretty fast for you.
I like the pulley idea you used with the pulleys. I see Izzy put a boat winch on his upgraded version, and I don't like the tension that it puts. I like the idea of the spring.
Yeah, because if you put too much tension, you can't let off of it real easy with the boat pulley. You know, this thing, you can watch that spring, you can tell how much tension you're putting on it, just seeing how long that spring gets.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Bob. I'm gonna steal that idea.
Not a problem. I just think it's so easy, and I like green wood. I hate to buy anything, so especially wood. So it's easy to just go get it and cut your own. You know?
I think that was great, Bob.
Bob,
Very
did you,
intuitive.
Can
are
you
you
make me
using-
one?
are you using the standard are you using the standard saw blade?
I am. I've tried the rip blade, and it's okay. I just didn't want to have to buy a rip blade again, so that just a standard blade works fine for me.
Yeah.
You know, if you were trying to cut 36
Trace, if you're using that on a gas chainsaw, you want to do it at an angle like Bob had his. It'll cut better. You don't need as big a chainsaw either.
Okay. That's why I was asking about the rip blade, because the rip blade just would go straight on it, wouldn't it?
No, you don't have to. I mean, it's how you turn the blade. You can put the rip blade on there and still cut it at an angle, or you can cut it straight. The rip blade,
you can use the
rip
blade like that. You can use the rip blade like that, Trace. The only bad part about the rip blade is most of the time, if you take it to somebody to have it sharpened, they're gonna wreck it because they don't understand what a rip blade is. You have to learn how to sharpen your rip blade yourself.
And you got to watch it. If you're holding the saw, that rip blade will just jerk it away from you. You've got to hold it and hold it up against the wood. You know, and here it's not so important because it's all held down. You're not, it's not going to, that chainsaw is not going to go anywhere.
And don't use a rip blade without some kind of guide system on it. You'll kill yourself.
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive. They just take a bigger cut.
It will bite you.
Bob, it's a beautiful rig. It's a beautiful
Okay.
rig. I'd ask you to send some photographs to Dave Rhodes, our webmaster, and you can include it on our website for folks that want to get a close-up view of what you did. I think it's nice. I like the bolts, the expansion to adjust. I'm sorry, your linear track adjustment to where you can take the kick out of the blade by tightening and loosening those turnbuckles that you have on it, angled support. And I looked at it for a few minutes and said, why would you have that? Well, if your blade's going up or going down, it's going to make a lousy cut, really. So that gets you to negative. That gets you to dead center.
Yeah, I was afraid that you don't know, you never know how they're going to cut. Whether that chainsaw's sitting in here exactly level or not. And so I put that in there. I put that adjustment so I could make that tilt in and out, forward or back, and to compensate for the blade. But after I did it and I got it all built, I'm not really sure that it's that important because that chainsaw is making a pretty good sized curve, and if it was way off, sure, you need some type of adjustment there. But I think if you get it kind of close, then it's not going to matter too much. Anyway, mine adjusts. I move it around.
Well, I like the idea of the adjustment. Allow for variation before you need it.
Yeah,
and you did that. That's a very good design, Bob. Very good. And I tell you what, this is outstanding. It came from one of our members. It's an idea he developed from somebody else's idea. So that's it's a transition type thing, and I think it was very good. We're looking for more demonstrations like this. And if you're interested in showing us your work, your tools, your gizmos, your gadgets, and all you have to do is contact Dane Chandler, and he'll set you up. And you see, Bob shot that. I believe, Bob, you shot that on the telephone, right?
Yeah, it was on an Android phone. Yeah, just a plain phone. It wasn't anything special.
Yeah. So, and that's all it takes.
I did use that Ken Master or Kind Master, whatever they pronounce that thing, but that is a very easy video editing program that you can use on iPads or iPhones or on the Android stuff. But it's very simple. And a lot of those I looked at were, you had to really think about it and try to remember all the different pieces and parts. But this program is too simple. It is very nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Dane.
Yeah.
Dane.
Yes.
I could do a demo on my circle cutting jig that I use on my lathe if you need somebody to do a demo, or I'll try to do a demo.
How about next week?
That'll work.
Okay.
Because I have one that's adjustable. You can cut infinite size circles, whatever you want to cut with it. And it doesn't matter the size of the bandsaw.
Right on.
I'm fascinated, Scott.
All right, it's coming, folks, right here. We got those ideas. I mean, this is like asking Jim Duxbury, can we take a peek into your shop? Really? I mean, we've done this tips and tricks things a couple of times. And I swear, I know right where his shop is and where the stuff's laid out, because he has shown us some fantastic ideas of things that you can develop in your shop for your wood turning, make life easier and simpler and safer. Got to jump on Sue's safety program, make it safe.
Brenda was talking about the trailer idea. To me, the trailer is so easy because once you load it, you got to load it to get it home. Once you load it on your trailer, you never have to move that wood again, other than to slide it in position.
Yeah.
And it gets it up, it gets it off the ground. You're not bent over, trying to struggle on the ground. Anyway, that's it, guys. Y'all go ahead.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Great demonstration tonight. Great. And we'll see what who's the guy? Scott's gonna be in Wisconsin next week, and he's going to show us his circle cutting rig. And before you even ask, why is that good? Because if you start out with something round, it's easier to turn something with 4 big corners flopping around. So you need to knock it off. And also, what you've knocked off will make bottle stoppers, plugs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Remember, as Kim Tippin said, no scrap wood, just wood you haven't turned yet. So that'll be coming up. Really great demonstration tonight. Let me mention again, if you're, we teased about this earlier, that if you want to send me some wood, send it to my address. And that's come across 3 or 4 times tonight. And it's not a joke. We've had members send other members all kinds of woods and toys, tricks and all this stuff. That's good, but we don't have a membership list. That's something we will not have. What we have is a contact list. And that is, if you want to be part of the list, put what you want to be on that list, whatever you want to be on a list, in our chat right now, and say contact list. And then in the search, you can say, this is Bob. I live in Tucson, Arizona, and yada, yada, yada. And I'll list my address, my phone number, my email address, my Facebook page, my brother-in-law's nickname, and all that stuff. All you put there will be included into our contact list. Now, before Dave Rhodes puts that chat up onto our website, he will remove that information. So the only way you can see it is live on your screen here now, or by going to our website on the contact. There's a members list page. Press members list, fill out the form exactly as directed. The subject is capital C-A-P-T-A-I-N, capital C-A-P-T-I-N, and that will get you to the program. But you need to follow it exactly, and there's a box to unblock and all that, because we don't want to be bot loaded. That's the whole reason we're doing this. And we're going to see, Bob was just now showing us how he shaped it up. That qualifies as a crotch when he turns, because it is a crotch. So that qualifies as a crotch. So on February 15th, we're going to have a gallery display, a challenge gallery, if you would, on Show Me Your Crotch. There we go. And we're going to have a company sponsored sensor to keep an eye on Doug Rowe. But we're going to do a Show Me Your Crotch, and that's one of our gallery shows this year. We also have one for St. Patrick's Day on gnomes, one for Easter on eggs, one for 4th of July on cannons. And if you got an idea of one you want to see, let us know. We just put those in, and all that happened last week while we were talking. People came up with ideas what you can do and how we can do it. And what we're going to do is link demonstrations with those items. Exactly. You saw gnomes that's coming up for St. Patrick's Day. We showed you that, what, a week ago or so, and some great tips and tricks. And if you paid attention to that demonstration, Matt did really good at it. But pay attention to that demonstration, and you'll be seeing how you can, you can step it up and get, pardon me, as weird as you want to get because there are no rules, right? And how creative you want to be, and what do you want to use? And you can use all the scrap wood, all the unused turning wood you got around the shop to do these, because there's no size limits. They can be little bitty for ornaments, they can be big ones for table centers, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what we want to see you do. And show me a crotch. We just did a demonstration a couple of weeks ago on a crotch. And that is on our website. If you missed it, it's available to you. You can go there and pick up anything, because we do, without doubt, have the world's greatest website on wood turning. Without a doubt. No arguments, nothing. We're hands down, we beat them all, because our webmaster turns wood, loves what he's doing, loves his club, and turns out the information that you have asked for. And we've asked for gallery tonight. And if you have something you like to show, go to the chat, say I have something to show. And Dane will call on you. When he introduces you, start talking, because we have to find you on the screen of about 90 people up here right now. And Dane, do you have anybody in a box?
Yeah, I believe we got Craig W. Hey, Craig.
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
Well, I had a bowl that I was working on, another one of my fogwood, and I thought I was going to have it ready tonight, but it's going to be next week. One thing I did do though is I'm one of those guys. I'm kind of cheap. I see something and I figure out if I can try to make it or not. What I did was this is just a prototype, but for sanding inside the bowl, well, usually when the bowl is got a nice flat level top and everything, it's not so bad getting your hand in there. But when you're doing the live edge, I don't like getting my hand anywhere near those high points. This is actually adjustable. It's just some 2x4 that I turned and fitted together and everything. But I just used some 60 grit sandpaper between the two pieces here, so it's got good grip power. Actually, this 2-inch pad is one of Harbor Freight's, and it's got a thread. And at first I thought, well, I could just screw it on and everything, but I realized when I'm sanding, if you hold it the wrong way, it's going to unscrew itself. So that I used my thick super glue and super glued it to the bolt or the nut that I have inside here. It works pretty good. I want to make something out of hardwood, but I figured taking a piece of 2x4 and do a prototype before I possibly ruin some nice wood was a good way to go. And
wait a minute, don't you dare infer that 2x4 isn't nice wood. Now you've entered into, you're now in the 2x4 club. So
yes, I am. Yes, I am.
I think it looks nice.
It came out nice. I mean, the handles, with the bead and everything, gives a little bit better grip and everything. Plus, I think it looks a little nicer. I don't like just plain flat stuff. It's got to have some character for me. But what I was going to say is I did get really influenced a few weeks ago when we were talking about using coffee for filling voids, coffee grounds with super glue. The bowl that I'm going to show next week, I actually used coffee grounds on it. And I just went by my locksmith and got got some filings and everything, because you guys have impressed me before. I never would even think about filling in a void, but I like the ideas, especially with the coffee. And if I want to get a little bit more artsy with the shiny stuff, I got a good start to go there to start experimenting. So I appreciate all the inputs from everybody.
Right
I
on.
like that sanding tool you made. That's fun to make your own tools like that.
Well, I saw, I mean,
That's
I
cool.
see it on Amazon. I see it on, or not Harbor Freight, but Woodcraft and stuff like that. A little bit longer than this probably, but I said, well, for what it is, it's just as easy for me to make it. And even with the 2x4, it's good and sturdy.
Of course.
So,
and you get more satisfaction out of it.
right.
Looks the same as the one I bought.
You got about $50 or $60 in your pocket now.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go, $60.
There you go.
Hey, Craig.
Yeah,
Make and sell them.
Yeah.
Does your sanding disc head spin or is it stationary?
On this, it's stationary. I've got I was at Woodcraft and I picked up another sanding disc pad that's got a longer spindle on it for my drill.
Right.
The only thing I want to do now is get one of those right angle drill heads so I can run the other one circular. My initial concern
There's this old guy that's on YouTube, Captain Eddie Cassidy. He's got a
Hey, watch that old crap. Pardon me. Uh-oh, did I lose everybody?
the magnet.
No, you're good.
You spin, so that might be something you might want to add to that, but that's a great looking tool you got there, man.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
You know what? That's one question I had when I was using mine tonight. Why does it spin? What is the purpose of the sandpaper spinning there?
Well, for me, if it's spinning, if you have the piece turning on your lathe, if you use just normal sandpaper, basically all you can do is just get just one line. If you have rotation on the pad, then it's going to change. You're not going to be cutting grooves. You're going to be ended up smoothing out a little bit more in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we power sand also.
Right.
That just came to mind tonight when I was using my tool like that.
Yeah.
Inside of my wave bowl.
If you use the stationary sanding and it puts a light scratch or gouge in it, the human eye is going to pick it up right now.
Yeah.
But if it's circular, it's less chance of being seen. Right.
After 800, you're right.
That's why orbital sanding is so fabulous in wood turning world, wood shaping world, corian finishing, et cetera, et cetera. It's all orbital displays. And Gary was right on about it. If there's a straight line that'll catch light, it will catch your eye.
Yeah.
And that's what that.
I do have one other thing. I don't know if other people do or not, but like the bowl I'm working on and I was hoping to show tonight. The reason I can't show it tonight was I wasn't happy with the polyurethane coating the way it was, so I had to sand it back down. And to try to prevent having more lines, I also use a fine steel wool to lightly burnish it and everything, so you don't have the lines from the sandpaper as much.
Good move.
Straight back, bright scratch pad.
Yeah. Did you also know that you can use brown paper bags, your grocery bags, as sandpaper?
Yep.
I didn't know that, but I burnished with the wood I turned before I finished it and everything.
Yeah, I use brown paper sacks a lot. It gives it a real nice shine.
Okay.
Yeah, it burnishes about the same as 4/0 steel wool.
Okay.
Yeah, I use that too. That's good.
Whoa, we're going from soups to nuts tonight. Thank you, Scott. Great. Appreciate the showing. All
Thanks a
righty.
lot.
All right, let's go to Jim Duxbury. Jim,
There
Okay,
he is.
we got you.
I'll try again. Last week I tried this and my computer quit, plain quit. And I had to unplug the thing and I never did go back on. Speaking of soup to nuts, this is a bowl. Can you see it?
Yeah.
This is a bowl from a board. And I started doing this. I bought an old Ringmaster that was actually made for a shopsmith. And that's kind of rough to use it on a shopsmith. But so I remade this thing to fit on my Powermatic. Shopsmith only turns down to about 700 RPM, and you can turn spindles to 3,000 RPM, but it's not a good thing to do. And it's the same kind of thing with this. You should turn it down to about 400 or 500. Anyway, you take a flat bowl, a flat piece of wood. This is probably 7x7 poplar, and you cut rings out of it. And if you cut them at the right angle, when you stack them all up, they fit perfectly. And all you have to do is sand it just above. So out of a flat board, you can get probably about a 6-inch straight-sided bowl. And from that, also, if you know a little trigonometry, they use charts and that sort of thing, which you can come close. But if you know a little trig and you can set it with a digital angle gauge, you can put these things right on the button. And I cranked the cutter back and forth, and the Ringmaster cuts from both sides. So you actually cut from the front halfway and cut from the back halfway. So it's much better than cutting with a parting tool.
How do you determine the angle?
If you know the thickness of your cut and you know the thickness of the board, you can look it up. They have charts on it, but you can actually if your cell phone has a scientific calculator, you can do a tangent angle, and instead of getting the approximate angle, damn cell phone, it reads out to like 4 decimal places. It's crazy. And when you set it with a digital angle gauge, the head itself, it comes out right on.
You can draw it out on graph paper and do the same thing.
You can draw it, yes. If you make one out of, let's see, this is made, this is mahogany and Purple Heart, I think. If you make one board out of mahogany and one board out of Purple Heart and you do them identical, you can take one piece of one and one of the other one and make these things. This is Wangi and Sherry, I think. It's about 10 inches in diameter, probably 6.5 inches high.
Wow.
But
Pretty
these
cool.
are,
Wow.
this is cherry and maple. It's a whole bunch of them.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And that's only one piece of wood. It's only a 10 by 10, 7/8 of an inch thick.
Oh, that's nice.
This is a piece. This is a piece of maple, probably about 7 inches square. And you run it through the table saw, cut like 2 inches off the side, and put a piece of cherry and a piece of probably Wangi in there, and put it back together, and then cut balls out of that.
That's cool.
Yeah, kind of fun.
Yeah.
You got to get it lined up really good. I mean, the hardest part of this is getting it lined up when you glue it. But
sure, it is pretty.
That's too close to perfection for me.
Well,
I don't know, Brenda. We've seen that wave boat. Dane might be signing you up for some of this.
this was a salad bowl. It's a salad bowl set. It's probably about 12 inches in diameter. The big one, maple and sapelli, I think. And the other ones are probably 6 inches in diameter. But it's kind of easy to make them all match. And that's Mahoney's oil on them. Bottoms.
I like your tongs.
Hmm?
I like the tongs.
Oh, that's another story how to make those, but those are turned too. The handles up to the fork itself, the flat part, that's all turned, and then it's cut out on the bandsaw. Double cut.
That is gorgeous.
Very nice.
Oh, wow.
If you start with a board, you end up with a flat board. But if you start with this is probably an 1.5 inch piece of walnut in the center. I think you can see my mouse. Yeah. 1.5 inch piece of walnut in the center, and you glue 2 pieces of maple to it, and then straighten the sides and glue 2 pieces of cherry to that, and straighten those sides and glue 2 pieces of walnut to that, and keep working your way out. You end up with a pattern. When you turn this thing, looks like that.
Oh boy.
And it's all scrap and stuff you got around the shop.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Look at that. Beautiful.
kind of fun.
Well,
Just no end to the fun.
Those are all nice.
If you start with a triangle,
oh wow,
and do the same kind of thing, you can do the
start with
same
a triangle, you can still get a circle.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Usually. Anyway,
Think about a pizza, right?
This turns out like this.
Man.
Wow.
Nice.
Then if you put the piece to the side and build off of that, this is the walnut over here. It comes out in the side. And you end up with that.
Wow.
Kind of an optical illusion there.
Yeah.
It's hard to get the dimension, the depth because of the wood. That's neat.
I almost wish instead of starting with a square piece of walnut, I was going to start with a rectangle, but in order to keep it in a series with the rest of them, I went with a square. But if I'd have started with a thinner piece of a rectangle of walnut, this wouldn't have been so drawn out on here. Anyway.
Beautiful.
Don't even apologize for this thing. Not at all.
No, never mind. Never mind. I made a set of 3, and I really liked them. A guy bought 2 of them. You know, almost didn't sell them to him, but anyway, ruined the whole set.
Ooh.
This is a bunch of just pieces inch thick or inch high, whatever width you had, glued up to make a 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 square. And you cut them out and you stagger them. You can do all kinds of layouts when you put it together.
Wow.
There's just,
man, that's pretty.
This is just I think it's about 7 by 7. I had some other stuff kicking around. I glued it all together and made that out of it. Oh.
I've seen where you can do those kind of bowls on your scroll saw also.
Yes, yes, you can. Oh, this one is
wow.
This one. I can't explain this one. This is wow. These are 10 by 10 pieces, and it ends up an inch thick. But you start out with 3 pieces glued together that are like 3/8 of an inch thick, 10 by 10, 3/8 of an inch thick. You glue them all together, then you set them on end and cut them diagonally on the bandsaw. So you've got 2 wedges, and you take the wedge from one side, put it on the other side, and glue that back together.
Oh, wow.
And you have stripes through it, okay?
Wow.
Pretty.
Thanks.
Guy looked at this and said, that can't be done. I said, I wish you'd have told me that sooner. I wouldn't have done it. Anyway.
Very pretty.
Awesome.
That's neat.
This is like a big, it's like a big screw, and you have to turn it fast or you'd fall on the floor. I mean, you just can't
Yes.
look at the thing. You just can't do it. But
Reminds me of time tunnel.
Yeah.
yeah. It just,
Yeah.
anyway, that's it for me.
Thank you,
Beautiful.
Jim. That's some beautiful work. Wow.
Thank you.
Yes, it is.
Thank
I
you.
like the
Right,
way he
folks.
says, that's it for me.
That's it.
It's a hard act to follow.
Never mind.
Right.
Well, thanks, Jim. All right, good night, everybody.
Yeah.
I have a good time.
Can't top
I
that.
bet you're very good, Jim.
No, thank you.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
All right,
Well,
well,
when you make the that ringmaster to fit the shaps or onto a Powermatic, and you rebuild it and make the thing stable and adjustable, it becomes more of a machine than on a shapsmith. It's sitting on two pipe rails and bounces around, and it just doesn't work. But anyway.
Looks good to me.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Dane, I
Thank
have
you.
somebody else in the box.
well, yeah, we got Terry.
Uh-oh.
You got me up
Follow
there?
that, Terry.
I'm here. Well, I asked Dane a favor if he would. In the future, could you possibly put me in front of Jim?
You just
That would be a
log
lot
in,
better.
log in.
Nobody wants to follow him.
Yeah, I think that goes for all of us, Terry.
Never
Yeah.
mind. I made those too.
On a lighter note, I missed Martin last week. He got off so early. I don't know if he's on tonight or not, but when he showed those little copper cannons, I didn't get the gist of the base for him. He said it was a multi-axis, but I even tried to look online to see if I could find it, but I didn't find it. So if Martin doesn't have to be there, he might tell me a little something about it or show it a little better. The cannon part is a no-brainer, but the base, he said it was a multi-axis, and I didn't quite understand what he was saying. But anyway, I took a shot. Huh?
Terry, for the
Yeah.
base, you'll drop the base down about 5 millimeter, both sides, and then just turn out the recess for the cannon to fit in. And then
Yeah.
put it back on center, take out the center to create the axle, and then make your wheels.
Yeah, I tried to study it anyway, so I just went about making it the way I knew. I got thinking about it, and I said, well, I got some wheels out there that I remember getting from somewhere, the factory made ones in a bag. So I said, let me see what I can do. So I went out, and that's what I came up with. And I took a little board and just made a stand for it. Well, the first ones I made it, tried to cut them so they would fit in the angle of the cannon. And it took a lot of sanding because the hole wasn't straight, but I got it down so that it would work out pretty good. And then I made the push rods for it. And I just drilled the hole to it. I just started out with a board like so and drilled a hole in it. That's an 1.5 inch hole. And with a 2x4, you really got to be careful to make sure you get an 1.5 inch band to put it on if you go with that. I mean, you adjust your sizes and everything, and then just drill the holes in the middle, and you're done, well, somewhere near the middle. But then done there, and then I put a band around the cannon itself.
Oh,
It's an 1.5 inch, so I just glued it on. And it worked, and it glued on wheels and stuff. And then I made the little plungers. I went to make the plungers. I says, I think I got some handles like that. And these were little handles that were made for a rubber stamp or something. And I just made a little piston to put on the end of them for a pusher. and they all worked pretty good. And I kept going on them to see what I could get. After I made I made 5 like prototypes to see what I was going to get. And then I decided I'd make a little run to see how I could go with production work. And that's what I came up with. And then, that's what I came up with, a little production run.
You got ambitious.
Well, I'm kind of do like that. When I do something, I like to try to figure out what I've done and how to do it better. And I don't know why, because I never sell anything, but I'm always looking for a production and see how fast I can do it and how easy. And I know that's what Martin does and a lot of other people is trying to cut it down, make it quick. So I just made them and played with them, and they really work good. They're a lot of fun. I'm sure the kids will like them and do a lot with it. And one other thing I wanted to bring up while I was here and still have your undivided attention. Last week we were talking about something, and Brenda was saying, doing something. I told her, I mentioned that she could use a flat cut saw, and everybody came up with their Japanese saws and everything to show. And I didn't go out to the shop and get one, but this is what I had in mind, Brenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Regular flat cut saw. I don't know
Right.
if you have any cordless tools at all, but if you do, all the manufacturers make one of these heads really cheap. If you have to buy the battery and the charger and everything, they get expensive, but just the tool itself is like $25 or something.
I've seen that
I
used.
use this thing all the time.
They call that a
I use it a
multi-tool?
lot.
Is it a multi-tool?
Yeah, oscillating saw.
It's a vibrating tool. You can put different blades on it. It's a flush cut saw blade where you can cut right flat on something. You use them for trim and everything else.
Just
It
vibrate.
vibrates real fast. It goes about 1,000,000 miles an hour and don't go very far, but it goes real fast. But one thing I like about it, if I'm working on something where I've got a hole drilled in the middle of it, it's really good. Instead of trying to use a parting tool to go all the way in and cut, if you got to cut through a hole, just get down close so you got a 1/2 inch, 10 in or whatever you need to make things nice and sturdy, and then just go in and slice it off flush, and it'll take you 1 minute to sand it off, and you don't have any tear off where the parting tool is starting to break through the hole. And it works really good. I didn't use it for a long time, but now I use it almost daily. I always find something to cut off on it. When I did these, I just made the axles and put them in there. I put the dowel rod through them and glued them on. And I just cut them all the same length and put them on and adjusted the wheels and took the cutoff tool and sliced them off. And it made it all easy. Other than that, I got working on a bunch of honeydews, and that's about all I did this week.
Thanks, Terry.
So, yeah.
And that can.
You never make just one.
Oh no, I can't never make one of anything. You saw I had 20 lamps.
All right, and that cannon is going to be our July 4th challenge for Canon. And if you want to see how Martin Clarkson did his, it's on our website with the idea of a little popper on it and all. So if you'd like to jump on that little challenge or that little gallery, and remember, no prizes. There's no prizes. This is just in your heart. I did this, and I want to show you. And just like Terry just did, he played around with it, played with the ideas. Pow! He's got what he liked to turn. And if you're selling things at craft shows or art shows, that might have a little attraction for the kids. Remember, if you get the parents to spend some money for the kids, they might buy something for themselves. Okay, we're back to gallery now. Got about a half an hour before we pull the plug tonight. Anybody up?
No, nobody up.
Oh, wow, that's unbelievable. But I'll trust you. All right, so if you got something to show, just say I have something to show in the chat, and Dane will get you lined up for it. And who do we get for next week?
We got Scott.
Scott.
He's going to do a circle cutting jig.
Circle cutting jig. I had one. I've changed my bandsaw 3 or 4 times, and like the rest of y'all. And I had one that fit my earlier saws that I saw in the Wood magazine 25 years ago. And what I got was 2 pages of the 3 pages of instructions or whatever. But I played with it,
and there was some starts and stops and some, we had to figure the line out, and it changes saw by saw, blade by blade, material by material. And if it's an adjustable frame, which is, it's a simple bolt nut thing, boom, you're right there. If you get wrong, it's gonna corkscrew on you, or outfeed or infeed. You don't want that. You got to get right on the cutting line. They're much nicer to use than guessing at it. And once you got one set up, you got to do 6-inch bowls. Don't. And if you're smart, like I wasn't, you'd put a mark on it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when you help get, but we'll show y'all that next week. Yeah, and we're still looking for demonstrations.
Captain?
Whoa. Hey.
So next week I'll show how I prepare some blanks, because I got all this nice Siberian elm that I got to cut up anyways. So I'll show how to do some green blanks. I'll talk about the blade that I use, and I'll show the universal jig that I've made so that you can use it on any kind of bandsaw. So if there's anything else that you want to see, something like that, give me a holler, Dane, next week, and or I can give you a holler and we can talk about it.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
Because otherwise it'll be a short demo. I can make it a little longer.
Yeah.
The door is always open, bud. Always open. We'd love that. And you see, it's not, there's no hierarchy. You have something to show us. You want to, I don't want to use the term brag. If you want to boast a little bit on what you've done to make things work for you, we're all along with it. If you develop something that is in a catalog, we just saw a little while ago, we saw a sander that the guy made. And I'll put a note here. If I can come in next week, I'm going to get the parts out, how to make it where it'll spin freely to make it a true oscillating sander. I used to sell those parts at my website, but you can buy the pieces at the hardware store. But that's where I got them from. So that's what we have coming up. Who popped in? I just saw somebody pop in.
Arnold, do you have something you want to show?
No.
Oh, you're
Okay.
just clicking faster than
All right.
normal.
Really? See, we got a couple of folks ducking out, but Matt says the link to Martin Clarkson's Canon video is on our meeting from last week or week before last, pardon me, and the link is in our chat. Save the chat before you leave tonight, folks. Save the chat just as it is. 3 dots in the lower right-hand corner. Click on it to save chat, boom, and be on your computer. And if you'd like to record the series in the meetings for your own use or your own save it, the entire meeting, all you have to do is contact us beginning the meeting, and we'll link you up to being able to record. It's not a legal thing or anything. Just it's between all of us wood turners. You know, I don't care if my brother-in-law looks over my shoulder. All right, I can beat that sucker in a day of the week. But also, I know some tricks he doesn't know, and that's why we're all here. It's the tricks and tips. Last week, Matt did a demo on gnomes, and coming up at St. Patrick's Day, we're going to do a camera challenge for gnomes. Oh yeah. You don't send us anything. You come with your gnome and you say, "Hey, look, this is the gnome I created." We also ask that you send us a good photograph to put in our newsletter, which is back, because I can take this thing, go in that room over there, and work on the newsletter. I got about 40 photographs this week from my membership of folks that have done some really awesome turnings, really. I mean, Ron Radliff, he's got a whole board full of things he turned, and he's 80 years old. I mean, hey, think about it. You know, you can beat this kid. But some gorgeous work coming out. Dane's popped in with a few. Why am I getting this?
Paula's trying to screen share. Paula, you got something you want to show?
All right, I just cut the screen share off.
If not, hit cancel on screen share, please.
All right, if you want to show us something, we open screen share for any member to show us anything. But if you click it, you're going to bump out everybody else and we get a blank screen. I'm okay with a blank screen, but it has to happen after 9 o'clock Central Time.
Hey, I was going to say something. Terry showed that vibrating saw. We were talking about tips and tricks. That vibrating saw works fabulous. If you take a piece of sandpaper that has a stickum on the back, you know, the glue, and bend it around that blade, you can sand in a slot. That thing vibrates back and forth. You can sand all kinds of things with that. It works fabulous. Unlike
Another
his, I
good
had
use.
that thing, I had that saw for a year and a half before I finally turned it on. And my God, I use it every day now. But if you ever cut a saw slot or something, you want to sand in there, take some sandpaper and stick it on that blade and slide it in that slot, and it vibrates back and forth. It does a great job.
I hadn't turned mine
Another
on
good
yet.
use for it is you take your rattle can paint or your lacquer and you tape that to that oscillating blade,
Oh, no.
or you tape it to an oscillating reciprocating saw, and that'll shake your rattle can up for you.
I saw a guy do that. He taped his to his hedge clipper. Oh my God.
Okay, let's not show that one, okay?
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Jim, I know who you're talking about.
You got it. You were there.
Right. Those
Yeah.
are the ideas you come up with. Now, you see that saw that you just started talking about? I saw one in the red, white, and blue thrift store. That's the kind of thing you find it because people will get it and say, what the hell is this for? They'll give it away. I got one from my late sister. It was never been used. She purchased at some discount type place and had all this. She was a hoarder. Had all these things for it, all the parts and gizmos. It was in the shop when the shop got ruined, but it's an electric tool. You can dry it out. So I dried it out. It's ready to go. And I liked it for just that, for doing that edge cutting. And I put vinyl flooring in my shop. And I wanted the flooring to go under the door frames. I didn't want to do all that little cutting and such. So I rigged it up, got the blade out, and it went right under. I mean, just beautiful, beautiful. And that's after I dried it out. So, got like 6 door frames to do. Don't want to do that again real soon. But it's an idea. Check those red, white, and blue or thrift stores around you looking for a monitor, a TV, a coffee grinder for grinding up pieces. Somebody showed us that they went to their and I don't mean to be rude when I can't remember your name. It's a problem I'm having. They showed us a jar of filings they got from their key maker. Those are all great ideas for us to share with each other. But if you get something like that, you need it a little bit finer. And it's the brass clippings. Sometimes one of those older coffee grinders that you put a little cup in and goes on top. They will knock it down a little bit more. But also you can put soft stones in it. You can put I can't think of the product. It comes out of Colorado where my daughter was at. Alabaster, and it'll pulverize it. And it makes great infills. So it's just an idea. Some of those things. I'm sorry, walnut shell. Yep. I saw a guy in my building days. I saw a guy texturing air at the ramp at the end of a set of steps going up onto heliport. And heliport was done with the right non-slip product. Had a bag full of walnuts. He didn't understand the difference between walnuts and walnut shells. He pulverized them, sprinkled them all over. And the next morning, most of the walnuts were gone. The birds pecked them crazy. But it's still made for a slightly non-slip surface. Funny what things we have to deal with. All right, we got about 20 minutes now. I don't want to end up too early.
We got a tip here. We got a tip from Doug.
Don't show me your crotch, Doug. That's Valentine's Day.
I know, not there yet. I'm getting closer. Maybe there's a little crotch. No. So when I was making that big birdmouth bowl, and before that, the big winged vase that was a total failure, my lathe was bouncing around a lot. Not unsafely, but bouncing. What I didn't do was go back and check everything to make sure all things that are supposed to be tight are still tight. Now tonight I'm sweeping up around the shop. This is laying in my wood chips. This is a device that, let me flip the camera around, is screws on just like so. It swings in and it holds my vacuum chuck pieces in place. It's all fine and dandy that I find the big piece, but what's missing is the little screw right there. Now there's only one place that it can be because I already went through the little pile. It's not there. I went through that little pile. It's not there. So it's in there somewhere.
Magnet.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, a magnet.
Yep, get it,
Yeah.
neodymium magnet, tape it to the end of a string and just drag it through there.
I got my
No,
big.
I got an easier way out
Yeah,
of that,
3/8.
man. Real easy.
Should be a
Don't
3/8
clean the shop.
16
Stop
TPI
cleaning.
bolt.
Yeah, stop cleaning.
There's what I've been using for the last 30 minutes. Haven't
Yeah. You still haven't found it.
I already moved all my wood off my bottom shelf. That was really dirty under there. It's very clean now. It wasn't there.
Ace
So,
Hardware. You can find it at Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
3/8 by 16 TPI.
Hey, Doug, how come you got a 155 round in your shop? Just out of curiosity.
So one of the retirees.
Don't everyone have one?
Yeah, doesn't everyone was hanging around? One of the guys was retiring. They wanted me to make him a wooden one. So this is an old spent round that's from our RTI. And so I brought it home so I'd have all the dimensions. Started off good, and then the wood wound up having a big void in it. By the time I was done, I turned him a 105 replica. And I just haven't ever got around to bringing it back.
Oh, okay.
So it's still there. But before anybody panics, here, let me show you. Don't be calling the government on me or anything. See, it's
No, I'm tracking, man. I recognize the grass instead of wire.
If it's inert, paint the sucker blue. Remember the rule.
so actually what I was gonna do was I was gonna paint it all up for another guy that's still there and put his name and stuff on it and give it back and be like, hey, remember the one you lent me to take home to get the measurements? Well, now it's yours. We're not in artillery state anymore. So there's a bunch of those just laying around the armories that are just.
Yeah, there are a bunch out in Florence too, man.
Oh yeah, you go walk
I
around.
used to teach out there all your counter ID stuff for you guys. So
Yeah, they're everywhere. But yeah, I do. I need to drop that back off, and I think about it every time it gets in my way. Like, why don't I just bring
Every
this?
time you got to move it.
Yeah.
This token never falls over on your foot.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
great.
funny. Only an artillery guy would go, hey, why is there a 155 round sitting there? Everybody else is going, that's a funny looking piece of wood sitting there.
I'm looking for the blue or the yellow to figure out what it is.
Yeah, back in the day, I probably could have told you right off the top of my head when I was in the artillery for many years, but I forgot more about artillery than I ever knew. It was so many years ago because I was just a young soldier when I was in the artillery before, and then they changed us to an infantry state. So I wound up having way more years in the infantry than I did the artillery.
Well, the rule with munitions is if it's blue, it's inert.
Right.
And I took a good friend of mine took me to see the first Top Gun 35, 40 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, you're going to love this. Those guys are going to take off with inert rockets and go fight those fighters. Watch them. If you watch the opening scenes, they do take off with Blue Bandit rockets. And they have multiple shoot downs with them. And they'll think, boy, I'm not glad I didn't drop those all the time.
Right. And think of all those blue mortars we sent off too.
Interesting days.
Called them.
Hey, I can take about the first Gulf War, and we sent over at Langley, 5,000 gas masks that had training respirators in them.
Oh,
Wow.
Yep.
Hey,
It wasn't,
Eddie, let
wasn't
me
until a
ask
year
you
later
this.
that we got them swapped out.
I'm
Who's
curious
that? Who's
if
up?
you ever heard the old funny story, and I'm pretty certain it was Vietnam, but maybe it was Korea, but I'm pretty certain it was Vietnam, where they were calling for more Tootsie Rolls, meaning mortar rounds, and somebody didn't understand it right, and they sent them literally thousands of Tootsie Rolls. I'm not making that up. I can't remember if it's
That
Vietnam.
sounds like Vietnam.
You got to look that up.
Yeah.
That's an actual situation that really happened, where Army lingo didn't transfer over the radio, or infantry lingo didn't transfer over the radio very well to logisticians.
Yeah, that's probably it was probably Vietnam when they first started phasing in civil servants to take care of supply demand overloads.
Yeah. There's
All right.
a really funny documentary about it, though, out there online. You can find it pretty easy.
All right. Somebody had an injected a moment ago, and then we cut them off. Who's up? Who's that? I thought it was Brenda.
No, I think it was Doug.
Okay. All right. Well, if you got something to show tonight, chat about it, whatever, we're wide open. This hasn't happened in a long, long time. Because we just
Oh
collect
gosh,
information.
I'll show the ink pen that I made.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see that. I like to see that. Get you over here and put you on deck. There you are.
oh, nice.
Ooh.
Real
Little
nice.
Monarch.
Oh, that's nice.
I saw that online. Was that the one online that you just showed?
Yeah. Yes. And so once again, the size of the bushings did not correlate with what the hardware dimensions actually are. So if you're making pins, make sure you're throwing a micrometer or veneer calipers on your hardware to make sure you're turning your blanks to the proper size, because that diameter is not the same as that diameter. And the bushings that they supply for these kits for use on either the TBC mandrel bushings or the bushings for the actual mandrels themselves, they're not the same size. So if you're getting instances where your blank is prouder than the hardware, or the hardware is prouder than the blank, that's the reason why. It's because you're turning to the bushing size instead of using a micrometer and
I just figured it was me.
turn into the actual dimension.
I saw something from on Facebook or YouTube, a guy asking the question about he inserted the bushing, the shaft, the sleeve into his pen blank, and it got stuck and he can't get it back out. And I didn't respond to him. I wouldn't take it back out. If it's in there in its usual place, turn it up on end, get super thin super glue, and drizzle super glue next to it. It's going to shoot all the way through. You won't believe how fast it'll run through the whole length of that stick, and it'll bond up. And that's all. All you're looking for is to keep the wood on the shaft of the sleeve. So it's nothing structural in that. It's just keep the door trim on the door. That's what it comes down to. But last week somebody mentioned not to talk about putting face blocks on with super glue because it wasn't resilient enough. There are some super glues that are resilient enough to do that. That 34 something that Sue, what is that product?
3408.
3408. Yeah, Parfix 3408. It is thick enough to do face blocks, etc., to put them onto a piece. Now consider that's got to cure to a certain degree before you put it under pressure or give it a twist. But if you put it on it and stay away from the accelerant, okay? Let the glue do its job. Put it in there and let it set for a little bit. It'll firm up right now. And to get it off, it's easy to come laterally to get it, the piece to break away. All those tips, and then double stick tape. My wife asked me yesterday about fixing a handrail on the attic stairs. It got pulled apart when somebody came to service something. And I said, okay, this is what we can do. We get some really, really good duct tape. And we do this band, we'll put some epoxy under it just to give us some varying stuff. And she said, what do you mean really good duct tape? Well, she saw them at the hardware store and they come camouflage, green, blue, orange, yellow, and all this stuff. So quickly, that's not real duct tape.
Yeah.
Real duct tape, when you put it on, it is on. It's got some strength to it. It will hold. The decorative tape, not too sure about. And that's, pardon me?
Gorilla tape's good.
Talking about that, when I did my my wave bowl here, the see how I made a flat bottom. I usually don't do a flat bottom, but I had a mortise on here, and when I was turning, well, I think I was still shaping the outside even, but I had a mortise on here and it cracked. So I put a bunch of CA glue on it, or Parfex, I think probably, and then clamped it and left it for about 2 days. I had, well, I think I had drilled holes in the middle of it, right? That's when it came off. So I had the whole thing to hollow yet. So I put Parfex on it, clamped it, left it for like 2 days, put it back on there, and was able to hollow out the rest of that bowl.
Nice.
But because it was all chewed up and the glue, you know, it looked terrible. So then I flattened off the bottom and put the spirally on there. So
that's nice detail.
I did take small cuts too.
Yeah.
And I was hollowing it out.
You knew your limitations.
Exactly. And it was
Never
because
exceed them.
conversation last week, you know. I'm like, well, it's, you know, it's all I got. I figured that would work a little at a time, and it worked. It never
worked.
Delayed. Never did.
That's good.
And let me guess, you made that radius jig to cut that sweep from a demonstration you saw on one of our meetings?
Yep.
Be doggone.
Was the jig that Trace made to cut the angle of his ornament stands. Yep. Same jig. Went through the bandsaw.
And that's why we're here every week, to see just that. But you know, we got something else to look at, and we're going to jump into total terror and run to Corpus Christi, Texas, where it's probably 95 degrees right now in the blue sunny skies. Is that right, Joaquin? Is that?
That's right. And it's going to drop 40 degrees by Friday, I understand. We'll take what we can get. Oh, there's my camera's been acting up here. That's why I haven't been able to get on. I don't know what it's doing. I mean, y'all see me all distorted, I guess?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
You look like somebody
Never
from
seen
the
you look
60s.
so good.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what's going on. I've got out and come back on, unplugged and plugged in. I don't know what in the world's happening.
Yeah. Might be your
There you
camera.
are.
There you are.
There you are.
I don't know how long it'll stay.
It's not, it's all good
That was
now.
quick.
Let's
Okay.
get to showing it.
I did this little mesquite bow. It's had some bark inclusions.
Nice.
And here we go.
Oh, no.
Yeah, your camera's
Well, it
going.
was good while
That's
it
a
lasted.
perfect picture, though. Look at you. Oh, you're turning brighter and brighter. Look
Look
at
at
that.
that finish. How do you get the colors?
Oh,
Oh, look at that. Dane's in there now, too.
Yeah, right.
I guess we'll try it next Wednesday. I had some crotch pieces and stuff here I wanted to share, but don't look like it's going to happen tonight.
This kind of reminded me of the old TVs that we used to have way back in the 60s and 70s.
I do remember that. Yeah.
No.
Slap it twice on the right top, you know?
That's right. You gotta smack it.
Yeah.
Hold that rabbit ear with some aluminum foil on it.
Yeah,
What
hey,
I
remember
hear.
when you go in the groceries and the drugstores, they have the tube tester thing where you get
Oh,
put
yeah.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
you go ask a kid in the drugstore today, do you have a tube tester? And you know they want to take you over to the specialty aisle.
Yeah.
Things we missed from when we were kids. I got to a really good TV repairman thanks to the tube tester on the corner in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And that was it. As
You
long as they
can't
had
fix
that
it
tube.
today.
Yep. I used to pick up TVs on the road and fix them.
Yeah.
You
And
all
we were
know what I
talking
did with
about
microwaves.
Oh yeah, put a microwave out, and the wood turner's going to grab it to get that.
Well, you need one for
capacitor.
the shop to dry the wood, and then you need one to take apart for the transformer.
That's the one I was talking about, the transformer. I couldn't get to the word, but and we will look at fracture burn pieces, unlike some other clubs. We will look at them because they're art, and we hope you're being safe. In fact, we stress that you be safe. And somebody said a couple of weeks ago, they probably go triple indemnity on this. They only work with rubber gloves, good ones. They only work on rubber mat, and they have grounding wires to them and to the table. And it's a constant thing. Doom, 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 A, B, C, D before I go energize. And we talked about it earlier tonight. Just count to 5. Think about what could happen. Think about what you want to happen, and then think about it, keeping the bad things away.
And
All right.
Why I'm not gonna do that one.
If you're building your own, use a dead man switch and only work very hard to not do anything that lets the current go through you. I.e., don't hold both probes, one in each hand.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what we did as kids? We would go and try to get earthworm, and we'd get an extension cord, pull it in half, get 2 wire hangers, stick them in the ground, put the extension cord on either side, and then plug it in. We'd all be standing around watching the earthworms come in. It's a wonder we didn't get electrocuted.
Oh my goodness.
They still show people doing that today.
Let's not explain that one any further. That's sometimes the things we did as kids we really shouldn't have done.
And that's Safety Sue saying she did that. That's
Yeah.
her safety leader telling me she did
She's
that.
grown up. She's grown up since then.
Oh yeah, that
Best
was
safety people, the best.
We told our friends not to be on that electric fence too.
So we survived it. I don't think these kids today could survive what we went through growing up.
No.
That's how you learn these things, though.
Oh yeah.
That's how you learn these things, though. You got to find the ways that don't work and things that hurt you.
Like putting
That's
20
what-
people in the back of a pickup truck and driving down the highway at 100 miles an hour. That's fun.
Or having bottle rocket fights with your cousins using PVC pipe.
I still do that. What are you talking about?
Isn't that what Roman candles were made for?
Bottle rockets were more.
Yeah, I
If
think,
you-
Dane, we used Roman candles.
Yeah, that's what we use.
That
Roman
too.
candles. Yep.
Because they're being bad.
Look at the pictures you have when you were a kid playing on the playgrounds. Do you see those things that spun around with the handles on the top and the seesaws and all that stuff?
How about the monkey gyms that were, 30 feet, 40 feet off the ground, and you're just climbing up there freehand to the top.
And swing sets that had 4-inch steel posts and they went up 20 feet in the air, and they had like motorcycle
and it was all
chains.
padded with gravel.
Yeah.
All the padding
Yeah.
with gravel.
That's why you don't see none of them anymore either.
And then you
How about
you swing,
fishing with
so you need to
powdered
jump
carbide?
off of it to furthest.
Hey, Dane, did you ever go fishing with powdered carbide in an old Skippy jar?
No.
So powdered carbide in water makes acetylene gas.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So you poke holes in the top of the Skippy jar, you fill the old glass Skippy jar half full of powdered carbide, which you could buy in the hardware store. And we used to throw it off the railroad trestle And then we'd have somebody on the other end catching the fish and the trout when they float up to the top.
No kidding. That's great.
Kaboom!
Right?
The guy that taught me how to do that was a sheriff's deputy, and one of them was also a game warden.
Yeah, right on. Right on.
I got in so much trouble when I was in Vietnam because we had access to percussion grenades. That doesn't show any fractal or just boom, but a big boom. The Coast Guard would come get us at the tri-service bomb dump, run us around to the bay, and we'd just ride along and drop those percussion grenades in a boat behind us to pick up the fish. And we had a barbecue. We'd have a couple 100 pounds of fish on the barbecue, and the people that were on each side would, one side they were not allowed to fish. On the other side, that's what they ate. So but we got to look. I got a speaking to one day. That's all I want to say. I got a speaking to. All right. With all that, folks, we're going to call it an evening now. We'll be back next week. But hey, bring a friend. Please bring a friend. Tell your club, tell your wood turning friends. Yeah. Come on, get them all out here. We're going to be here again next week. We'll have fun talking. This is just like going to a family reunion with family that you do like. So we look to see
something to say?
Yeah. We want to see y'all.
Something to say before we leave?
Who?
Donald.
Donald.
Donald got something to do?
Hey, Donald, are you feeling better?
A little.
Well, don't forget to save the chat.
Well, good to see you, Donald. Donald says, save the chat. As you said it, I went and saved mine. It's on my computer, and it'll be on yours too. All right, folks, say goodnight. See you next weekend.
Somebody,
like Sue says, let's be safe.
Whoever recorded the program, please send a copy to Dave Rhodes.
Yep.
All right. With that, bye.
Good night.
Night, everyone.
Night, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Night, Al.
Night, John Boy.
Everybody, have a safe week.
Good to
Good
see
night,
you again. Thank you for
Captain.
visiting.
Hey,